All right. Taking off in 5, 4, 3, 2. Yo, 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 yo. It's your boy T.O., as you know.
It's your boy O-Rain, real name, no games, no gimmicks.
Yo, it's the Fade Podcast, the one-stop shop for everything TV, media, and film related, along with the end of the goddamn thing we talk about comes to you live direct. Proof of Concept Studios finally back together, as we should be.
Back in the stew for the first time in 2022. Listen, I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but that did sound good.
Hey, look. The bars just come to you. You know, sometimes they just flow.
One take. I'm like Jig out here. I don't even write my raps.
Hey, why write them? You know, what's the use in that? Only chumps write them. You know what I mean? You got to come off the top with yours. Yo, what's going on, man? How you feeling? How's your week going? How's your year going so far? How's 2022 going?
Year's going so far. I don't have much to complain about, but
bring the mic a little closer to your face. If you don't mind.
Obviously, you know we're both football fans.
Yeah.
Our teams are both in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they may meet again.
Yeah.
Monday night was a great night. I feel like it told a lot about who we are. And for those listeners who don't know, I'm a LA Rams fan. Tunde's a Green Bay Packers fan.
Yeah, as misguided as you are. Yeah, sure. You are.
Listen. You guys have a tough road ahead. The 49ers play against you guys well.
You see that? I know how you watch a lot of like ESPN, Undisputed, all those things, because literally that's what everybody is repeating is that those same exact sentiments. Oh, they match up against you well. Look, I'm not going to say much about Saturday.
Aren't you guys like 4-1 in the past like 5 games against 49ers? I'm sorry, they're 4-1.
No, we've won like during the regular season.
I thought like the last four like 5 matchups. I think it was like 49ers are 4-1 against the Packers.
I don't believe so. Rodgers in his career is 6-3 against the Niners. Or I'm sorry, in the regular season, we've lost 3 playoff games. If that's what you're referring to.
You guys have lost 3 playoff games
all time in Rodgers' career. Yeah, he's lost.
Okay,
3
so
playoff games.
I think it was like I think that was it. It was like 4-1 or 5-1 in the playoffs versus the 49ers. Because like they always tell the same. Well, that would be
like 1 in 5. Like if that is true, that would be like 1 in 5. If you're looking at it from the Packers' perspective.
Yeah, 49ers would be 4 and whatever. 4 and 1.
There are no 49er fans here, so I don't know why you would be saying it.
True. Okay. Yeah, you guys are 1-4, 1-5. Okay. But like. It's interesting how the storyline always comes back up. Aaron Rodgers wasn't picked up by the 49ers, his childhood favorite team. You know, the California kid had to go to Wisconsin, and it's supposed to be like a revenge game. They're going to tell the same story. They're just going to like refresh it for 2022. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a good game. I don't have much to complain about. This year's off to a great start. Just to kind of jump into some like TV shit. Peacemaker. I'm not sure if you've seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I heard it was dope.
It's I love the tone of it all. Very funny. Doesn't take itself too seriously. John Cena is perfect for this role because like he can pull off the action and the stunts and the physicality. And he's like an oddly funny guy. He's perfect for this role. I really enjoy Peacemaker. I've also started watching Boba Fett. That's been a really good. This year's off to a good start.
How many episodes are you into Boba Fett?
I think the first 3.
First 3?
Yeah.
How do you like it so far?
It's been interesting so far. It's an interesting journey. I'm not entirely sure like what story they're telling.
Trying to tell,
yeah.
Yo, what was so interesting? I watched the first episode, right? And I thought to myself, yeah, it's just trash. I have no interest. This is so boring. I don't know what the fuck is actually happening here. I don't know why this should be interesting. But then I kept watching, and the whole aspect of him basically like kind of it being Godfather-esque of having this new sort of dawn, so to speak, and having him sort of struggle for the territory. An angle that I wasn't, and then it got me to remembering like kind of like my number one rule, which is don't let your expectations override what the thing actually is, right? Which is what I did. Because I was going into it thinking it's going to be, he's going to be going on missions and just fucking killing people and shit in space. And this is just going to be like a bounty hunter type of situation. But they basically already did that with The Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
Or at least they've covered that with The Mandalorian. With this, they went in a really different direction that I was not expecting. I mean, I'm a very passive Star Wars fan, so I don't really dive into, you know, the lore or anything like that. But from what I understood of Boba Fett, I didn't expect anything.
Yeah, I've always known him as like a bounty hunter, mercenary, like a ruthless kind of.
This is like a little.
This is political Boba Fett. This is like, you know, I'm a senator now. I'm a congressman now, and I've got to. And I love that quote, right? Jabba ruled by fear. I will rule by respect or with respect.
Yeah.
Which kind of set a tone for like who he was. Now you're not gonna fuck with Boba Fett.
No,
but,
he does get down, but this is an older Boba Fett that we're dealing with. Yeah, he is getting old.
Who is his right hand woman again? I know her name. Her name is like May. It's like
the actress. Is that what you're talking?
It's like Mei Ling Wen or Ling Mei Wen.
Sure,
something like that.
I have no idea. I did not look that deep into it.
So I know her from she was also in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna get to some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shit, not directly, but very sort of indirectly, through a one Joss Whedon.
Oh yeah.
Who I think was the show creator.
Was he the show creator for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Or co-show created. I forget exactly.
He had something to do with that. It was so good.
You see, but why does everybody try to recreate like
Ling Na Wen? So I'm sorry, Ming Na Wen. I'm sorry for butchering your name, Ming Na Wen. But yes, so she's Boba Fett's right hand man. She was also like I think one of the directors at. She played Melinda May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Great show. Also, do you remember her from Street Fighter?
From Street Fighter, you said?
Mm-hmm. So
what are you talking about?
So the Ming Na Wen, who is in Boba Fett, she was in Street Fighter. She played the Asian, you know, and I'm sorry, this is super fucked up, but she played like that, like Asian karate fighter chick. This is Street Fighter with like Jean-Claude Van Damme. You remember the old movie? She played Chun-Li.
No, I don't remember that at all. I don't remember much about that movie, I'll be honest with you.
That shit was great. So this came out in 1994. She played Chun-Li.
Why did it take you that long to get to Chun-Li? She's the person in Street Fighter that we're all following.
I don't remember.
Guile, more than fucking Blanca, more than anybody, more than Ryu.
I really didn't remember anybody's name from Street Fighter, but yes, there's Ryu, there's Bison.
We were talking about gaming before this, before the podcast.
I'm not this type of gamer. I'm more of like a sports gamer.
Jesus Christ! So you didn't play Street Fighter as a kid, dude? You didn't spend hours battling it out with your brother?
I did, yeah. I just come on. That was 1994 though, early 2000s.
It was a hot year. It was a hot year. You know what I mean? People like talk down on like, you know, the 90s, but like who talks down on the 90s? People talk glowingly.
Young people.
Who?
These new motherfuckers.
What new mother? I point to them. Let's fuck them up right now.
I remember when I was watching an interview and it was like Lonzo Ball was talking about like, you know, the greatest rappers of all time. He was like, you know, NBA Youngboy and Lil Baby and Tekashi 6ix9ine.
So let's spend precisely 5 minutes on this. Okay. So this came up with the whole Jay-Z thing, right? Or we might have talked about this before. I can't remember. But each generation has their own greatest rapper of all time, right? Because to each generation, like to us, we wouldn't say Big Daddy Kane. We wouldn't say Rakim. We wouldn't say fucking Rakim.
Rakim in my list.
Or not Rakim. Who am I trying to think of? KRS-One. Like we wouldn't say these people, right? We would say, if you're being fucking honest with yourself, you would say Jay-Z, you would say Nas, you would say Biggie. Like these are the people that we would say, right? Because that's our generation. Every generation says this shit. So I don't understand like why it's like brand new when a new generation is like, no, we've got the greatest rappers of all time.
Sure, but like, for example, when we talk about some of the greatest musicians of all time, right, or the greatest singers of all time, like I would put like Luther Vandross. I'm still gonna put Stevie Wonder in there. I'm still gonna, you know,
but no.
Before my time though.
Luther was still kind of our time.
I didn't.
You know why they were still kind of our time? Because our parents played them religiously, which is different from this generation, which they have everything at their fingertips. So they're not married to whatever their parents are playing. It wasn't like you turn on the radio and you listen to whatever station your parents are playing. You put on the fucking headphones, vibe out to whatever the fuck you're vibing out to, you know? I think we were forced to listen to a generation prior to us because we simply had no choice, right? But ask us about somebody from the 60s, somebody from the 70s, we were like, I don't know.
True. But like, I would say, like, I feel like what our generation, I feel like we are the somewhat of a bridge, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
that's fair.
We were, you know, like we still respect the old shit. I still love Luther Vandross and Stevie Wonder and Prince
because we have a semblance of it. We have a idea of it. I think the reason why the newer kids don't really have an idea of it is because they don't have to. They have so much other shit at their disposal, and they're not forced to like listen to any one specific shit, or you know, which is I think marketably different than.
I think the best way I've heard it is that like our generation was there before streaming, right?
Yeah.
Before the technology boom. So like when you bought a CD, a cassette, I had a fucking Walkman.
Yeah.
You had to listen to every song.
Yeah.
You couldn't pick the 3 or 4 that you like and just listen to those.
Yeah.
You had to listen to every fucking song.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have a different appreciation for like TV or movies and music because we had to listen to all of it. You couldn't skip past the shit. Now they're just like, yo, I just want to listen to that, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's something that we all do. Let's not try to pretend that's just the new generation. Rarely do I listen to full albums. The only albums that I listen to fully are the albums that I know that I like fully.
I was listening to. I just on the way here, I was listening to Adele's new album, and I'm the type of person that's
cheating, kind of.
What? Why?
She puts out everything she puts out as fire.
Sure, but like again, like Adele, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Here's the big.
I don't know if I'm Adele's like core consumer. You know what I mean?
But, who isn't her core fucking consumer?
I still appreciate music, and I have to listen to the whole album.
Here's a question. Oh, listening to the whole album isn't the same as like liking the whole album, right?
Sure,
There's a difference.
No one likes the whole album.
Of course there is. Blueprint. I was listening to it just the other day.
I don't like all of Blueprint.
You're crazy. Name which one's weak? What's a weak track on the Blueprint?
I'd have to have the track list up.
Pull it up.
But I know for sure I don't like all of Blueprint. There's only been a few albums in my life where I'm like every song
I know that's
slaps.
what I'm saying. Is that it's rare that ordinarily that we listen to every track on an album, let alone if we have the ability to fucking skip shit. As soon as CDs came out, it was a wrap. You tell me I could jump to track 6 without having to hear or like literally manually fast forward through, you know, all the first 5 tracks or whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck it. That's where I'm going, you know?
That's true.
The ability to do something sort of negates sort of like what came before it. Like, and what I mean by that, and it was said in a really clumsy way, but ultimately what I mean is that it's because these kids have the ability to do certain shit why they don't do the shit that we're familiar with, right? It's because they don't have to, right? If we didn't, if it were left to, we would be just like them if we had the same ability when we were kids. Sure. We would be exactly like them.
Which is why I appreciate the time in which I was born.
For sure.
I could do the streaming shit. I could TikTok too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm really, I think we are really fortunate to be in the generation we're in because we got to see some really cool shit and we got to appreciate it because we were born at a very specific time because we were born in a time that knew pre-internet, a lot of this like technology and shit. And then we can see shit after that. Yeah. Which I think is so fucking like unique.
Yeah. You know? My girlfriend who's not much younger than me, like literally not much younger than me at all. We were talking the other day and she's like, I've never listened to an entire album my whole life because even though she's not much younger than me, she was still the generation where like her first music listening device was an iPod.
CD or an iPod.
Yeah. Right. So like mine's was a Walkman. So like, I feel like those early experiences is why I am the way I am in terms of like how I consume something. Like whenever an artist that I like drops a project, I have to listen to the album front to back, like once or twice. And then I pick out what songs I like from it. And that's my process with everybody. So like this Adele album I'm listening to, I think I'm on like track 6 or 7 or something like that. Yeah. I've got a couple more tracks to listen to. Then I want to listen to it again, beginning to front. And then I'll be like, all right, I like these 3 or 4 songs on the album of the 12 that are on there.
Yeah. Yeah. But in any case, man, look, let's just jump to headlines real quick because there is no movies coming out this week. I'll be perfectly fucking honest with you. There, Scream came out last week, and there is zip.
Trailers came out this week. That's about it.
One trailer came out this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
the
all
one I care about.
I know. Yeah. Wait, which one do you care about?
Moon Knight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. I thought you were going in a different direction. We're gonna run it back with some of the trailers we were supposed to watch last week. We had some technical difficulties in our 200th episode. Very embarrassing, but we have hopefully corrected the issue here and get to those shortly. But we are going to talk about some of these headlines. Look, first thing I want to talk about is Sundance is actually happening or starting this particular week. In fact, it actually starts tomorrow. And I actually think I'm going to do it this. I don't know if you want to go in with me on a link.
Yeah, like you know what it costs?
Yeah, it's $50 for I guess I forget what level of pass this is, but it'll let us see enough shit that
I'll send you 25.
There you go. So it starts this week. Now, one fucked up thing that has come of this is that obviously they were going to do in person, and then Omicron was like, well, fuck your plans. And so since then, they decided to go completely virtual for the festival. Now, where it's fucked up is that according to some outlets, hotels and places people will stay, as well as like flights and shit like that, I think in the festival itself, and I'll read here from an article, they're not refunding shit. That's amazing. That's bold. You got to be because those same people are going to be next year.
Yeah,
you're going to think about doing it in person.
And the hotel manager will be like, "I know we didn't give you back that $1,200.
I know you couldn't pay your rent for 2 months, but
we would love to have you stay with us again. Nothing will be comped.
Yeah.
Not your food.
By the way, we've
drinks.
doubled our prices.
Yeah.
Also, so people who bought tickets in person to in-person events in the 2022 Sundance Film Festival are finding they won't be refunded now that the festival has been moved online, and this is per Fox 13.
Now, here's the question though: will they get will that if you couldn't come in 2022, your ticket, your whatever package you bought, it will move on to 2023. Like you'll be able to redeem this thing in 2023. Is that, or they're just ran off with the plug? I ran off on a plug. I took your keys and I'm not giving you shit.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they just ran off with the plug. But
let
me read further. In a statement given to Fox 13 on Saturday night, the Sundance Institute, the nonprofit artist group that presents the festival, pointed out that it instituted the no refunds policy from the onset to continue to champion the essential storytellers of this generation. I'll speak on that in a sec. But Sundance said it is offering alternative packages. Alternatives to package holders, including additional tickets to films this year or partial credit towards the cost of ticket packages for the 2023 festival, which is what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Which Sundance hopes will be back in person in Park City and Salt Lake City. And this is per the Salt Lake Tribune. So what's interesting about that is basically what they're trying to say is, we've got to pay all the people, who are coming to the festival, or I guess the people who are a part of the festival, or whatever the case is, right? That
ain't nobody coming.
It's fucking bullshit. No. Like I don't know if it's the people that they're hiring to put on the festival, the people who were, I guess, designated to the people who are selecting, certain films or whatever the case is. I guess if you're a part of the Sundance Festival itself, I'll go ahead and in a state pointed out that Institute has a no refund policy from the onset to continue to champion the essential storytellers of this generation. Now, that is a very tricky sentence because what it makes it feel like is that the money is going towards the storytellers. Sundance themselves, as far as I know, I could be wrong. Anybody who's actually been to Sundance and knows how Sundance works, they can fucking correct me. They don't fucking pay the storytellers to actually have their material in, you have to apply to Sundance, meaning that you have to actually pay to even get your movie to Sundance. So I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I don't think the artists paid to have their art featured at
No,
exhibit.
they did. The artist pays, but what I'm saying is Sundance doesn't then turn around and fucking pay them. So what do they mean that to continue to champion the essential storytellers of this generation? Like, you could do that without ripping everybody off.
I need to see. They need to be fully transparent
because
with me.
That's
if
all
I paid.
That's all profit, dude.
Yeah.
If you're telling me that
100%
to come to the festival, right, and to have all these people who put the festival together and have to take, there's people who take tickets, or it's people to hold the screening, security, team, whatever it is. None of that shit's happening. So what the fuck is the money going towards?
The money they're saving on permits to get to lease space and blah blah blah. Yeah.
What?
All profit. Listen, I need to see all of the transactions. I need to see this money that you say you're keeping in order to pay those future storytellers. Yeah. No, I need to see decimal by decimal, who gets what. Otherwise, run me my shit.
Run me my shit.
Yeah, I don't care how you send it to me. You can send me a check, cash. I'll meet you. You know what I mean? I know I paid online. But
I'll meet you.
I'll meet you wherever you need me to meet you.
I'll meet you in the parking lot or some shit.
I got Venmo, Cash App.
Oh my God.
We can do it however you want to do it. You can send me a Bitcoin, whatever. But I need my shit back.
Yeah, dude. I truly don't understand that because dude, the people are going to come back for next year. That's the part that kind of blows me is that it's going to happen for next year. So why the fuck would you just give the people the shit that they give them the money back? That's it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Or at least give them 75%. Give them we need 25% in order to pay the online geeks who keep the shit running. Fine.
Yeah.
Give me some of my goddamn money back. Don't just hold my shit and be like, well, we're going to wait till 2023. Hopefully this COVID it's probably going to still be here in 2023. Who the fuck are we kidding at this point?
You know what I love, though? I love when companies issue those bullshit statements about why they're raising their prices. And they're like, as we continue to grow and continue to strive to provide greater and better service, it is imperative that we continue to, pay those creators who create the things that we enjoy so much. Thus, we are raising our price. And it's like, yo, shut the fuck. I know the CEO just wants a higher compensation package. That's it. That's really it. You're not giving more money to anybody else. The CEO wants a bigger boat. The fucking the members, the shareholders, they want higher earnings, right? That's why prices are going up. It is not about paying creators or providing a better service.
Yeah.
Fucking Comcast or Verizon. My call just dropped the other day, but you still went up on my prices.
Yeah.
Come on. That's bullshit.
Let's jump to another story here. Black Panther 2 restarts production. Or I guess restarted production this past week. And if we do remember, Letitia Wright she was injured, dude. She got hurt. And at first her injuries were made to seem like they weren't that serious. But then come to find out, she was fucking mad hurt. Apparently
what happened?
I think she had it was some stunt gone wrong, and it was a concussion, a really severe. Now, a concussion has to be really they didn't take it through any NFL protocols, no nothing. It was just, you're out 3 months. I have in the NFL. That's a lie because it's actually ended some people's careers, right? Like Troy Aikman, his career ended because of concussions, right? I'm pretty sure.
I don't think it was just concussions. I think it was. Oh no, sorry. He had multiple repeat
concussions. So. But it was crazy how she suffered this injury, and I think just the concussions were a part of it. They weren't the entire thing, but they were a pretty significant part about it. They halted production because they got to a point in the production where they literally just couldn't shoot any more content without her. Production has started back up. Now
wait, so I'm going to read a statement here. So basically Marvel executive Kevin Feige and a bunch of other motherfuckers I don't know said in this statement, we had initially thought Feige. We had initially thought her injuries were minor. Turned out to be much more serious with Letitia suffering a critical shoulder fracture and a concussion.
Yeah.
with severe side effects.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. We know actors are sensitive people. So,
are you going to try to make the case that
yes,
her injury wasn't that serious?
So,
but you are the worst.
But there have also been many reports that she's been extremely difficult to work with on the set of Black Panther 2.
I don't give a shit. They don't halt production because somebody's difficult to work with.
They've definitely halted production on things because
like who? When?
Fucking
tell me now.
What is that show with fucking Kevin Spacey?
No, they just got rid of him. Like that.
They said he was difficult to work with, and
well, first of all, it wasn't that he was difficult to work with.
There were allegations there too.
A little, slightly, ever so different.
May have touched someone inappropriately, but I don't know. I just feel like there were reports that came out that said that she was very difficult to work with on set. She didn't want to get vaccinated. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, you see, I think, but that's. I think those were things that were like kind of conflated because they happened around the same time, like shortly before, I guess they halted production. It was like, oh, well, she's, been adamant that, she's an anti-vaxxer, yada, yada, whatever the case. Long story, I don't really give a shit about that, right? Because a lot of people believe a lot of stupid things, right? So I'm sure if she has some sort of dumb beliefs about the vaccines, fine, fair enough, right? But they don't halt production on a fucking multi-billion-dollar at this point movie if there's no like legitimacy to her injuries. That I don't care what she's complaining about. I don't care if she only wants the red fucking M&Ms in the bowl. I don't care if she needs her pillow fluffed 8 times a day. I don't care what the fuck it is. They're not gonna halt production because she's quote unquote difficult. That's not a thing.
That is true. I will say that.
Yeah.
I wonder if
this guy
she may have. Like athletes hold out all the time.
Yeah.
Look at Kyrie. I don't do this whole, the vaccine thing. I'm not playing. I'm sitting. Kyrie's been healthy and ready to go for a while. He's just like, my choices are my choices, and he's been very vague about it. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there was either a contract renegotiation that happened here, a compensation renegotiation. No. I wonder if she was like, yo, I saw all that money ScarJo just got. So
why would okay, so you
let's take some time here. I'm hurt. Pop, shoulder injury. Pop. But let's also take this time to look at my contract again. Let's read every line.
Yeah, considering you just came off of a major injury, I find it very interesting that you.
And I'm suing the NFL. Listen, I don't even play. I just watch. But I swear to God, I wish this happened. If I'm gonna get hurt, I wish it happened somewhere else. Because I was like, as soon as I got up from the injury, I fell down and I got back up. I was like, yo, lawsuit. Who can I sue? There was nobody around. It was just my daughter. And I'm like, if I sue her, I would have to pay myself and those legal fees.
Yeah, it seems unnecessary.
But yeah, man, listen, if I could, oh God, that's my dream. Lawsuit. I'll settle today. Let's just agree to a small number.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta earn, because we talked. I think it's last episode where we talked about like earning shit. Would you rather earn shit or just have somebody give it to you? I'd rather just earn it. I'm all for the easy come up, but still.
Yeah, but like the dealership doesn't care, and I want the new electric G-Wagon. They don't care if I earned it or got it in a lawsuit.
Fair enough. So jumping to another headline. So there's been a bit of controversy. We were talking about the Book of Boba Fett at the top of the show. And there's been a bit of controversy with the Tuscan Raiders. So basically, the Tuscan Raiders are supposed to be sort of the indigenous people of Tatooine. Unless I have that wrong. I'm pretty sure they're from Tatooine. Unless I'm mistaken. I'm pretty sure Tatooine. But if I'm wrong about that, somebody will correct me at some point, or nobody will. And I'll just be wrong forever. But essentially, like with the previous Star Wars films, yada yada, they've always shown the Tuscan Raiders as just like these fucking mindless fucking animals that just want to kill you for no apparent reason, right? That's how they've always depicted them. There's always been a bit of race attached to that, of just like, oh, whenever you have an indigenous people and we don't understand their customs, they just seem like animals to us, right? And so what the Book of Boba Fett sort of explores at least a little bit more and expands upon is who the fuck are the Tuscan Raiders, you know? And so it sort of delves into what some of their traditions are, why they do some of the things that they do. And it's been really interesting. It's been one of the reasons why I've thought, oh, this is actually pretty like cool. Like I like this, you know? I'm still kind of 50-50 on if I actually like the series or not, but that at least has been really sort of interesting to watch. Now, then they showed up, they like basically all got killed. Is essentially sort of what happened. And so
I did really enjoy that journey, watching Boba Fett like kind of earn his way into and earn the respect of the Tuscan Raiders, and you see a bit more of them, right? Because you know, from other movies or in any other Star Wars film where they were depicted, it was always just like, these are like desert scavengers, right? These are like violent desert scavengers. Don't go through that part of the desert because they will rob you and kill you. But they're really a civilization that are trying to survive on what is like scarce resources. Yeah. So they have to maybe be a little bit more vigilant in taking your shit if they need it because they're trying to survive.
Yeah. Now, so where the controversy sort of comes from is for one, just how they've been treated historically, but then two, the fact that they just all got fucking like wiped out. Is sort of where it's just like, what are you doing here, guys? We're just going to wipe out the indigenous people and just, that's it, huh? We're just done with them, huh?
Yo, yeah, right. I don't think like it wasn't even like some of them made it and some of them were hid.
Just all of them.
Everybody's dead. That's crazy.
So far as I can remember, because I was kind of half watching the show, half doing something else. So I wasn't able to like really sort of take that in. But I do remember seeing a scene where they just like, he came back to them and they were just all gone.
Yeah.
So
what I thought that was funny about that scene is like, you know, Boba Fett, obviously he's like this space tough warrior and he's been through many battles and whatnot.
Yeah.
He just was like, yo, damn, they burned this shit down. He just slid off with the camel or with the mammoth or whatever the fuck that was. He was like, well, time to go. Like, he really didn't give a fuck. He called an Uber and slid. Yeah, I was like, you know, he didn't like.
He did an actual spit take for those people who are
I was expecting him oddly to like show emotion. You know what I mean? Like a tear fall or like he dropped to his knees and you could tell he's like in anguish. And
no,
like,
but it makes sense for his sort of like character who, so part of the thing is he's never really had a family himself. So he's still kind of trying to figure shit out about how he feels about certain shit. Right. So it actually tracks that he's kind of like, damn, that's crazy, you know? And it tracks that perhaps those emotions are going to hit him later. Perhaps we haven't seen just how much that did actually affect him. Perhaps in a moment, it seems like, oh, he's callous, he doesn't really care. But later on, we see that maybe he exacts revenge or he does something that's like really cruel because he thinks that's the proper way to, you know, pay homage to them. Or
it would be nice to see him kind of like track down those who were responsible for like, you know, essentially killing all of the
Tuscan Raiders,
Oakland Raiders,
who are now officially eliminated.
Who was it? Patrick Mahomes? Who beat him?
No, that was your boy Joe Burrow. He got
Joe did it. But yeah, so I'm liking the Book of Boba Fett so far. I think I'm not entirely sure where they're going with this story, but that might be a good thing, right? Like sometimes it's like you're telling a story. I'm not sure where you're going with it, but then like once it like everything converges, and I get to that point where it's like I get where you're going with this, and it's very exciting. That might be what they're doing here.
Yeah. Moving on to another story in our headlines. Rupert Grint, who played Ron or in Harry Potter, he recently sort of came out and said that, I guess, and again, I'm just reading the quotes from the headline, but he said the relationship with J.K. Rowling is tricky. On one hand, so I guess this is a direct quote from him. He says, he still considers her an auntie, right?
Yeah.
And he says, I don't necessarily agree with everything my auntie says, but she's still my auntie. It's a tricky one. So I thought this was really interesting because it's, for one, we're going to talk about Joss Whedon a little later, right? And I feel like a lot of times when we're having these sort of conversations that are really like sensitive, what we lose is a bit of like nuance. And what I mean by that is for everybody else, everything's external, or for people online, everything is external. What I mean by that is they'll look at something that Rupert Grint said and be like, "You piece of shit! How could you dare? J.K. Rowling's is, you know, a piece of shit. She's transphobic, all this stuff." It's like, well, all that's very true, but also this is a person that I've known for more than half my life at this point.
Yeah.
So for me to just be like, "Fuck her," is just like, but what I mean by everybody online makes everything externals is like those same people act like they don't have people in their life who have very questionable beliefs.
Like you're a racist uncle. You still love him.
And it's like, and I'm not even saying that you're like best friends with your, you know, somebody who, you know, who's in your family who has a abhorrent belief, or am I saying that you're always tied to that, meaning that sometimes you do have to just cut people off because you're just like, look, too much for my taste. I'm just going to cut that shit off. We saw what happened
with Seth Rogen and James Franco.
And James Franco, right? They probably still talk behind the scenes. Probably.
They got Kevin Durant burner phones like, you still
what
coming
you
over
doing
tonight?
Saturday?
Yeah, but come through the back door. Don't fucking come through the front.
So people online, I feel like there's this like layer of nuance that's like missing from people who because people like demand you, like either you are 100% with us and there are no exceptions, or you're not with us at all and you're a part of the problem. And I think that the issue with that is that there's so many fucking layers to everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there are people in my life who I love dearly, whose beliefs I'm just like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard.
Yeah.
You know,
I've got
like
a friend who's like a Trump supporter. He's black guy too. He was like, yo, like, I think Trump was a great president.
I think you to tell me who that is after the podcast.
I think Trump is a great president. I love Trump. You know, I hope he gets reelected. And I'm like, yo, nigga,
what?
I say it with
you're at the party. You just look at him like,
I say it with the ER too. Like, this isn't what he thinks of you. I'm speaking on behalf of him, even though you're supporting him. But like, you know, still my boy. Still love the guy. I don't agree with his views, but I'm not just going to write him off just because I don't agree with his views. Now, in certain situations, if they do something if they do something terrible, it's like,
but that's what I mean by the nuance is missing, meaning that it's like degrees, right? Like if somebody fucking like is like a serial murderer, I'm not going to be like, well, that's still Johnny. I still love him. Fuck that. Yeah. Johnny needs to get locked the fuck up, right? Yeah. How can I help put Johnny away, you know? But if it's like somebody says something that somebody has beliefs that you don't believe with, like I just read a story about the dude Ray who plays Ray Donovan. I forget what his name is. Who plays Ray Donovan? Levi something. Yeah. He played fucking not Wolverine. Sabretooth. Yeah. So he just came out and talked about how he feels about what's Angelina Jolie's dad's name?
Fucking John Voight.
Yeah. How he's a fucking raging Trump supporter who says all this crazy ass shit. He's like, look, I do, and Liv Schreiber, that's what his name is. He's pretty vocal about his beliefs too, right? Like that he doesn't, fuck with any of that shit, and he's pretty like adamant about that. But he's like, look, man, I love that dude, like I disagree wholeheartedly with all of his political beliefs, clearly, but I still love the dude, and I understand that there's people out there who would say that like, well, okay, if you love somebody, but their beliefs are oppressing like other people, then it's like, well, maybe you should check that, right? Which I would agree with. But I also know that cognitive dissonance is a real thing with fucking human beings, right? That we're able to compartmentalize, right? And people act like that doesn't happen on a regular basis, right? Yeah. If I walk out of my house, right, and my next door neighbor is like yelling at their child, right, I'm not going to immediately be like, that person's a terrible parent and I should call child services or whatever on it, right? Because I don't really like know that situation. So like what I'm trying to say that as is, it's so easy to judge somebody else from the outside looking in, right? So for people who have very terrible beliefs, they actually might be decent people otherwise, which I know is like, can't be that they're a good person other than these. It's like, well, yeah, to other people they are, which is again what we're going to talk about, or what I'm going to bring up with the Joss Whedon thing is, to certain people, yeah, like, so all these Republicans who seemingly don't give a shit about anybody else, to their families, they're great because they actually do care about them, you know, and do take care of them, you know what I mean? So it can be both, you know, and you do, I think, sometimes have to call people out, but at the same time, it's just like, you know, Jay-Z, again, when you brought up the whole Aaron Rodgers things in our group chat, I'll always live by Jay-Z's quote, which is, look, they like their drunk uncle in your family. You know they lame, you feel ashamed, but you love them the same. You know what I mean?
That's very true.
Like
I've got members of my family who like are devout, like Christians and, you know, for the Bible and all the positive shit that the Bible says. I don't know any of it, but I hear it's supposed to be positive. The New Testament, not the Old Testament.
Fair enough.
But like they don't believe in homosexuality. They think it's like a sin, and they don't like, you know, they don't necessarily not like gay people, but they think like being gay is wrong and it's not okay and blah blah blah. And they're sinners, right? Then this person wouldn't hurt a fly. And do I agree with their beliefs? Absolutely not. And I challenge it all the time because we have these like religious and social conversations. I challenge it all the time. I never agree with what they say, but I still love the person, and I can't change that. But what I can do is like challenge their ways of thinking and challenge their beliefs.
Yeah,
whenever
what I think people online demand is that you how people are reacting to this Patton Oswalt or whatever his name is and Dave Chappelle thing, where he took a picture with Dave Chappelle and people are like, oh my god, I guess you're transphobic now too, and he's like, motherfucker, that's my friend.
Yeah, they've known each other a very long time.
Yeah,
and if Patton Oswalt agrees with Dave Chappelle, I'm not going to be mad at him for that. If he disagrees with Dave Chappelle, I'm not going to be mad at him for that.
But I think what people need,
people like, you must disavow him.
Yeah, or you must vocally come out and say that you don't. It's like, yo, if everybody believed in the same thing that everybody they took a photo with or shook hands with or like laughed it up with, this would be a crazy fucking world. If every fucking time somebody had to come out with a statement afterwards, we're like, look, look. There are people I used to work at a bank. There are people at the bank who have terrible beliefs, right? I still fuck with them. Like they're still my people, even though I know they did some crazy shit, but that's crazy that how like, oh, I have to come out and say every time that I shake hands with a Republican, I've got, I like black people. It's like, what?
There are very few instances where I'm like, all right, I need these people to like distance themselves from someone. Yeah. You know, if you were photographed, like if any of my friends were ever photographed on Jeffrey Epstein's jet,
yeah, that might be
I immediately. It's a terrible joke.
That's a different story. You might have to.
In a case like that, I immediately cannot fuck with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is. In that situation, because you're so closely related to something that is potentially very, very like terrible, I cannot fuck with you. Yeah. But if you're just sharing your personal beliefs and you haven't necessarily hurt anybody, you may have offended people, but you haven't hurt anybody. You're entitled to your beliefs. Like if somebody comes up and says, "Yeah, I'm racist," I'm gonna be like, "Cool, I'm not gonna fuck with you," but like I'm not gonna change your mind today or tomorrow, and you believe what you believe.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I feel like we are losing a bit of nuance here where everybody's like drawing the line in the sand. And I suppose that in order to create progress, sometimes I believe that is necessary. But I think with how much we're interconnected, it feels like that's being sort of, there's the pressure to do that, especially with, you know, how much you might be in the spotlight or not be in the spotlight affects what that is. Like people who aren't in the spotlight are much more able to have something fell down. What the fuck that was? People who aren't in the spotlight are able to throw so many darts at everybody else. Like I think one of the easy, and I'm getting way off topic here, but I think it's so easy to judge people who don't have any responsibility or who aren't in charge of anything. It's so easy for you to throw darts at everybody else until you're the person in charge, until it's your shit. Then you're like,
until you have to hold the press conference and explain yourself, it's easy to like.
It's so
be mad
fucking
at the other
easy.
person.
Yeah.
Like, granted, that's my biggest fear in life is to do something so bad that I have to hold a press conference. When you have to call a press conference, you got to speak and apologize. Your wife is next to you. You remember when Kobe?
Oh, terrible. Let's stay away from
that whole Kobe thing. And you know, I'm sorry if anybody.
God bless the dead.
Yeah, God bless the dead. I'm sorry if you're fucking offended because I'm retelling a real life story.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I just remember watching the press conference and like Kobe's wife was sitting there mad as fuck with that $2 million ring on that he had to get. Motherfucker. He had to be like, "I'm sorry. I did what I did," and I'm like, "Oh my god, my worst nightmare."
You have to be And here's one thing we don't like to admit as human beings is like, yo, we fucking make mistakes, dude. Like, even if you're the best of people, like I've made mistakes in my life that I'm like, fuck, dude, what were you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Do better, you know? But
I've committed felonies, like straight up
let's
felonies.
not admit that on here. Yeah,
allegedly.
Jesus Christ, you know how they're using rap lyrics to fucking
speaking for
as
a friend.
evidence.
Speaking
Jesus
for a friend.
Christ. But anyways, dude, let's just move on. I spent enough time. I'll get up my soapbox with that. In sad news, dude, Espard, we're gonna later in this podcast we're gonna watch or live react to the Moonlight trailer.
Yeah.
Moon
Knight.
What did I say?
Moonlight.
Oh, Moon Knight is what I meant.
Moonlight, also a great movie.
There you go. Yeah, great movie. Oscar-winning movie. Even as irrelevant as the Oscars are these days. Gaspard Ulliel, and I'm butchering his name. So I apologize. Gaspard Ulliel, I believe he's French. He's a award-winning French actor who actually takes part in the series in Moon Knight alongside Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke. He plays Anton Mogart, aka Midnight Man. He has passed away. It was a ski accident that happened. He's only 37 years old. Dude. When I saw that, I'm not gonna lie, that got to me a little bit because it was only like a few weeks ago that I just realized, yo, I'm like solidly mid-30s right now. Like solid. Not like I'm approaching mid-30s. I'm literally mid-30s.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, what's happening? Time, slow down. You know?
Exactly.
It was a rude awakening. And so when I saw the 37, I was like, yo, that dude young as shit.
Super young. So much he has been done and accomplished. And I'm sure, and people may look at this like, oh, he was like a celebrity, he was rich and famous and loved, and like, I don't think anybody's really gonna look at this and say like, oh, he lived the full life. And it's like, it doesn't really matter how much money you had or how famous you were. 37 is young. Like,
that's a young
if
time.
you say, yo, Rain, I will give you $100 million, but you'll die at like 40. Keep the 100.
Yeah, keep
whatever money I make, but I want to live beyond that.
Yeah.
So this is just an unfortunate thing, a skiing accident, like something so simple, and you're just gone.
Yeah.
So, I do not know how to pronounce his name, and I will not attempt to. But
and I'll try.
Condolences to his family.
Gaspard Ulliel. Ulliel. Condolences to his family. And just man, just a casual fucking reminder, man. Here one moment, gone the next.
Yeah.
So smoke them while you got it, I guess. As the old saying goes.
Now, here's a question.
Yeah. Don't ask a dark question off of that. That's terrible.
It is a dark question.
Oh shit.
Obviously, there's a vacancy here for his role on the show.
I think
how quickly can the studio
recast?
I
don't think with something like this you can just recast. Well, for looking at this from the studio's perspective, right? Because these are the things that they do have to consider. Unfortunately, after something like this happens and somebody passes away, is that you're coming out the series right now. Mm-hmm. So, fortunately for you, you have a lot of time before you actually have to make any sort of calls in terms of. And so, I think this is different than the Chadwick Boseman situation, right? Because Chadwick Boseman,
they were set to begin filming fairly soon after.
It was. I mean, I don't know how far away they were at that point, because I think that was like maybe a couple of years ago now, right? That Chadwick Boseman passed out. I think it was 18, somewhere around there.
I think it's 2 years since.
Yeah, so that would make it 19, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it was like towards the end of 19,
or maybe 3 years. Jeez. So you're about to get in production on like a new film then, and so it's just like, well, fuck. Well, what do we do with our? This is the title character, for the movie. So I think here they won't have to make that call for a little while. So if they did want to recast, I think they could. Also, it's not like he's like the build, the title character here. So it's not something that people are going to be like, I guess, super attached to. So yeah, I think they gotta, looking at it from sort of a very sort of grim perspective, they've got a couple different options. But for right now, fuck that.
Now here's the better question though. Let's say you're an actor,
Mm-hmm.
and it was between you and him for the role. He won the role.
Yeah. Do you go back?
Do you call your agent?
Well, naturally, right? Like if I don't, well, I guess maybe the question you're asking is how soon after
Exactly
this
like,
happens. Do you
breaking
call your,
news. You know what I mean?
Jesus
It's happening
Christ.
right now on CNN.
Dude,
CNN.
this
You're
is
just
a
like,
dark conversation.
can you reach out to the Marvel?
Jesus, is that what you would do?
Yeah.
Yo, fuck, that's dark. Immediately afterwards, when you hear the news,
Then I would send my condolences. But, rent's due. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not.
yo, you are a terrible person.
Yo, I am a despicable human being.
Jesus Christ. All right. So let's get into our trailers, dude. Unless there's have we watched anything in common that we want to talk about? Did we talk about True Story last week?
So actually we did talk about it. I think we
it,
chatted about it just a teeny bit.
Yeah. What else are you watching right now? What's
So
I know you're watching a bit of Boba Fett.
Yeah, Boba Fett, Peacemaker. I'm on episode 3 of that. Great show, really funny show. I just finished the final episode of the second installment of Dexter: New Blood.
Okay. I've heard it was better than how it ended.
It was definitely better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. Have you ever seen Dexter?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things about the show that I don't like, and there was a path of ease for this particular character throughout the show that over time, like in the first 3 or 4 seasons, you're willing to accept it. Like, oh, okay, he just walked up to the front door and killed somebody. No one saw, but okay, I like the character. I like the show. I love the actors. You're definitely gonna fall in love with the actors and the storyline and just the whole premise behind it. Mm-hmm. But there was definitely a path of ease, and I blamed it on it being like early 2000s. Like they didn't have Ring doorbells back then. You couldn't fucking look at your phone and see if anybody was in your house. Like, so maybe home invasions, burglary, blah 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 was a little bit easier back then.
Yeah.
But there was a path of ease for this particular character, and I feel like there was character development was not really like a great thing in this show. It was just like, we already make good shit. Like the idea is good, so we're just gonna keep doing the idea.
Yeah.
But we're not going to. There's gonna be like very little growth in the first installment. In the second installment, you did see a lot of growth.
You mean of the 2 parts of this additional season that it's got?
So there's Dexter, then there's Dexter New Blood.
Right. And so for this New Blood, it was cut up into 2 parts.
No, well, is it?
No, I'm
so,
literally asking you.
Dexter New Blood is just, I'm pretty sure it's
just all one thing.
installment, 12,
Gotcha.
like I think it's like 10, it's either 10 or 12 episodes, one of those numbers. I know it's not 11.
Okay, so it's just a new season then.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they did with Breaking Bad, except instead of doing a movie, they just did like, hey, we're going to give you 10 more episodes and like wrap the story up, right?
Yeah.
It was really good. It was much better. I liked it. It was fun to watch. It was exciting. It gave you everything that you hoped it would give you. I just hope that it would be a little bit more modern. It would adapt to the times. Like, you're not just walking up to anybody's house anymore. Otherwise, you're going to be on camera. So like, little things like that bothered me, but great way to end the thing and tie it up with a nice bow. Much better than they did before, because people hated the way it ended the first time. It was terrible.
Yeah, I heard there's some uproar about it just not being good, which is it's tough, man. Endings are really fucking tough, which I think people don't acknowledge.
Yeah, you're never gonna make everybody happy.
You're never going to make everybody so like, why try? I love the way The Sopranos ended. Because I knew about the ending before I actually watched the series, but I even loved it more after watching it, because it was like, you know what, fuck it. I know we disagree a little bit on the end, or how it should have ended, or what they could have done there at the end. But I just think endings are just tough, man. Like, they're just to wrap everything up in a nice little bow and to like fucking make things. Issa Rae series. Insecure just ended. I love the way that ended. It ended on just kind of just like she's living her life, tip. Yeah. And it was cool as shit.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer films or shows where it's like, in the end, they tie everything up with a nice, neat little bow?
Depends on the story.
True. Very, very much depends.
I'm always like a live in the moment person. Like just have it make sense to the story. If that's the story you're telling, if you're telling this story that's highly dependent, and I'm gonna with the way that I'm thinking about this, I'm gonna butcher the way that I'm going to say it, but if you're giving me a very specific story arc, and like I've been tracking this particular story the whole time, then I need you to give me what the conclusion to that arc is. Even if it's something that's like, I don't know, even if it's something that's like not necessarily what I would want, but at least complete the arc for me, right?
Yeah.
But if the whole, like if it's like Seinfeld or if it's Insecure and you're just like, you're peering into somebody's life, then I'm actually okay with it just ending kind of like, yeah, whatever. Life goes on, you know, like I don't need it to be like this thing where it's just like I need everything wrapped up. And in fact, I like people like I like people who dare to do shit, right? Like don't just give me some like Breaking Bad. Everybody raves, we've talked about it on the podcast before. Everybody raves about the ending of Breaking Bad, but I've always viewed it as like, it was all right. It's kind of like paint by numbers. It was just like, yeah. I could have told you all of that was going to happen before watching the episode.
Yeah.
He was going to tie shit up with Skylar.
He did. Everything was wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow for the most part. And that's how they ended that.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of answer my own question, and I hope I answer it the right way. Because I think to your point, like it's kind of like a hard question to answer because there's so much nuance, right? When I'm watching a show and the show involves many characters and many different storylines and like many people's different lenses and perspectives, I like it to be wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow because it's like you care, especially if it's a good show and you grow to
what you mean, or is what you mean by that, meaning that you have to have all of the characters, whatever arcs that they have for each character, you want to see wrapped up.
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
I want that closure, right? Like I want like, oh, these characters, like they get married and they fall in love. Like I think in Friends some of that happens, right? Like you see Chandler and Monica have a baby and start a family, right? I think Ross, doesn't he like chase Rachel down at something that happens at the airport or whatever?
Yeah, he goes to the airport, doesn't catch her, and then she just ends up getting off the flight anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when he comes back, she's there or something like that. So like you get closure there, and you get. I think what happened with Phoebe? Didn't she like?
Her and the dude, because she was dating what Paul Rudd's character. I forget what his name is in the show.
Yeah,
but I think I'm pretty sure they got married, and I don't know if they had kids or anything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, and like I feel like all of those characters you got to see, like, all right, I don't know who knows what happened between like Ross and Rachel if they stayed married, if they got divorced, but you got that little bit of closure saying like, all right, like the thing we wanted to happen happened for them and we got to see it and it felt good. So in stories where there's plenty of characters, a bunch of different storylines, like I like to get closure. I like to know what happens with all these different people. When it's a show or a movie that has like that's telling a story from a singular character's perspective, in those situations, I'm kind of fine with it being a little bit more open. Like, The Sopranos is really about Tony Soprano. Sure, there was his family and whatnot, but it was really about Tony Soprano.
Bring the mic a little closer.
The show ended, and you kind of don't you can kind of tell what is about to happen to Tony, but you don't know. And I think like that's why a lot of people didn't like it because they wanted to see Tony get shot.
Yeah,
right. That's how it should end. Whereas I'm fine with, we think we know what's about to happen. Maybe he fought back. Maybe he got away. Maybe that wasn't the end of his story. And I'm fine with that because it was just a one person story. And you don't always, closure is there was this great quote that I love. Closure is a luxury that not everybody's going to get.
Yeah. That's life. And I love when that's depicted on screen that sometimes we're not going to get this in life. We rarely get closure, right? There's so many relationships. There's so many things that happen,
friendships at work.
You get no closure on. You just don't see that person anymore. You don't talk to that person anymore. And then fucking 30 years has gone by.
Like literally in every part. The other day I went to Chick-fil-A and I ordered a bunch of food and like I was supposed to get mac and cheese and I drove away. I didn't get my mac and cheese. There was no closure.
End of that story.
I don't know what happened to that mac and cheese. I didn't get closure, but like that's life.
Somebody ate it for lunch.
Exactly. Somebody was like, somebody left their mac and cheese and fucked this up on my lunch break. I'll never know.
Yeah, I just learned right now that Chick-fil-A has mac and cheese. Didn't know.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No.
Very good.
No. Okay. All right. I have to check that out sometime. So yeah, anyways, so we're going to get to some trailers that we didn't actually get to last week. which will be cool. Let me see.
Which will be cool.
There we go. So this first one is Bel-Air. So this is a dramatic retelling of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, directed by Morgan Cooper, or I guess developed by Morgan Cooper and Will Smith, written by Chris Collins and Morgan Cooper as well, starring Jabari Banks, Cassandra Freeman, Adrian Holmes, Coco Jones, and is due out February 13th on Peacock, of all places.
Peacock.
Peacock.
If they just announce a name change, I'm okay with it. As I'm watching something, they just pause my show.
Just like
announce
we are
the name
now,
change. We are now something way better.
Or some shit like that. Just literally anything else other than Peacock. That sounds so dumb.
Yeah.
But anyways, we digress. Let's check out Bel-Air.
This time we're trying to make you forget who you are and where you came from. Don't let it do that.
Damn! Jeffrey Thompson, house manager.
Will,
10 years is a
Jeffrey?
long time.
let me show you around.
Where them dimes
I don't think so.
Hillary,
That's what they said. He said Jeffrey Thompson.
let's go find you something fit for a prince.
What do you think?
I made you look.
Okay. Feeling a nice.
Uncle Phil!
I'm glad you're safe. We'll talk later.
Cousin Will!
Yo! Is this really baby Ashley?
You're a long way from home, Mo.
Oh, Tim. How you been?
You know, thriving. I hope one day we can talk about why you're really here.
Do you know why I'm here from Philly?
Scrapping the bull court. Got nasty.
Who threw that? Was it you?
Now some bad man from Philly, you want to deal with you.
Is Uncle Phil Jamaican?
I move mountains.
Is Uncle Phil
to give
Jamaican?
you ear.
I don't think that's Uncle Phil.
here's the
That wasn't
story.
Uncle Phil.
Came to Bel-Air for
Yeah,
a
that's
better
Uncle Phil.
education. Simple. Be patient. Give this a real chance.
We have a different set of rules here, okay? If you want to do well, just keep your head down and follow my lead.
Whoa, whoa. Man, you know I'm a rep West Philly wherever I go. Yo, King, what's up, man? No love.
Look around. These are my people.
What?
Now on,
Steer clear.
welcome to Bel-Air.
What the hell is my life?
Yo, chill out, bro.
Maybe Will just isn't cut out for this. Why are we working so hard to save a boy who doesn't want to be safe?
Because we owe it to him.
A real man takes responsibility for his actions. A real man knows when to let go of his pride and make the most out of a second chance.
Be the Will who charmed West Philly with his talent and swag.
Let the music diffuse all attention. Get out my face, you people so phony. There's no going back. I made you look. I'm king of the town.
Bel-Air.
Much better than I'd anticipated.
Yeah.
A lot better than I'd anticipated. I love like so far, based off what I've seen, based off the trailer, I love who they've casted in each role. Character or actors and actresses that seem like they're going to carry a lot of weight for the show, like, but in like in a different way, right? Like we know and we love Uncle Phil, so they couldn't. If you tried to recreate Uncle Phil for me and give me the same Uncle, like I'm gonna get like an older, heavier set black man who looks the same as
I'm not gonna believe it.
the
Yeah.
Uncle Phil, I wouldn't believe it. You have to give me something different, but it also still has to be good.
Yeah.
Every character that I've seen in the show is different from what they gave us the first time, but it works somehow.
Yeah.
I like the music. I like what I feel like the story that they're telling here is, he didn't just get into, something out on the basketball court. Yeah, it wasn't that. It was like he's in some real trouble, and that trouble may follow him to Bel-Air. And he's not just dealing with. He's going to deal with Will Smith in the original Fresh Prince dealt with a lot of like real world situations, like the experience of a young black man who. Yeah. But I feel like it's going to probably be a bit more prominent here. Like I feel like in the original installment of The Fresh Prince, they may have chose to be very particular about how they address certain social topics. Whereas where we are today, you don't have to, bite your tongue sometimes because you don't want to like upset white people, right? Like now, like you can say what you have to say. And because you have that freedom, that power, and that flexibility, you have that platform. And I feel like this show is going to do that.
Yeah. I think the thing that sort of jumped off the page to me with the show is I love the dramatic, because I feel like the story of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air really does lend itself to like a more dramatic telling, because it really isn't a fish out of water, sort of story that can be done very dramatically, you know, that you take this kid from West Philly and you plop him in the middle of this fucking bougie ass Bel-Air, community. And given that his family there seemingly is mad bougie and, is tied to their own sort of way of life. And he's introducing a completely different, aspect, or perspective. So it definitely does lend itself to the dramatic telling. What I'm hoping for though, is that it doesn't completely get away from its origins with being a comedy.
Yeah. It's not too much of a departure.
Because what I don't want is for this just to be like fucking one of those kind of like teen dramas that's just like literally always serious. Somebody's always crying. Something's always happening. It's just like, just
everyone's falling in love every other episode.
Exactly.
Like, we just met this school year,
and I love
you already.
Oh my God. It's just like, like
fucking Vampire Diaries type shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
One thing that I enjoy so much in just in shows, in movies, is variety. It's one of the reasons why The Fifth Element is one of my favorite movies of all time, is because it's this weird fucking combination of just odd shit, where it's you get some drama, you get some action, you get some sci-fi shit, you get comedy.
Music was great.
Music was awesome. It just had a little bit of everything, even though it was a weird fucking combination, and it ended up in this weird sort of package, but it's just like a little bit of everything, and that's what I enjoy so much about, I can watch like a horror movie and it's just, basically all just horror or whatever. I can do that. Yeah. But when I watch something like this, I need, give me a little bit of everything. Don't just be serious all the time and fucking have everybody be storming out of rooms every 5 minutes. It's like, no, like, introduce, because that's what life is. Life is sometimes you laugh now, cry later, as they say, with as Drake puts it, right? Like, that's what life is. It's a combination of everything. It's not just one thing, and when it becomes the one thing, then it all feels way too heavy, like even in real life, it feels way too heavy when for like a week straight it's just nothing but just chaos and drama.
Yeah,
let's slow it all fucking down here.
I'm so glad you said that. And the reason I mentioned Vampire Diaries is because like that's my girlfriend's favorite show, right? Mm-hmm. And like, like literally every episode is like, I'll do anything for you. I love you. Like we literally just met the school year. You're the new student, and we had 2 classes together. And by the end of the school day, I love you. And it's like that's unrealistic. Yeah. And then every episode was about like, how much I have to show you I love you more. I love you more. And it's like, there's no comedy. Yeah. The music isn't great.
Like I can't take the relationship serious if I don't see y'all cutting up, if I don't see the reason why you fuck with that person. Yeah. Like I do agree that sometimes you just like, I remember like in high school, I remember meeting a girl and I remember I can't have the fucking audience see. I was like, kill this fucking.
Nobody would have known. You could have edited that fly.
No, this is happening live. It's happening live. I remember meeting a girl, and I remember like from the moment that I saw her, I was like, there's something here, like that I feel. And then I got to know her, and it confirmed the way that I felt. But we had everything in between. Like we laughed, we were serious with each other. Like it was just like the whole gamut of like emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like when that is removed in favor of just the dramatic parts, then it becomes just like, why are we here? Like, what is the thing? What I know I'm saying that I love you, but what is the meaning behind it? Like, why do I, like if we've never like laughed, I can't really love somebody if I've never laughed with you,
Yeah.
if I've never cut up with you, if you've never made fun of me and I've never made fun of you,
If there's never been any type of challenge or test that like, all right, is this thing real? The litmus test, right?
Yeah.
Is this thing real? If you haven't had that, then like, how do you really know?
Yeah.
But again, Vampire Diaries was too dramatic. It was too much about love, and there wasn't that humor. There wasn't the other elements of it that, like, for me, would have made it more interesting, made it more believable.
Yeah.
I mentioned Dexter earlier. Dexter was too much about despair and loss, and like, oh, I'm this person that nobody knows, and like the show really wasn't funny. It was, the action really wasn't that great. It was
tough,
just like
yeah.
it was too much of one thing.
like even The Sopranos, it had a lot of fucking comedy in it. There are a lot of weird fucking situations that Tony would find himself in, that the kids would find themselves in. Some of it was fucked up, right? Also, some of it was funny as shit.
Some people died in some really fucked up ways.
Yeah.
Tony Soprano, he meant and this is a testament to James Gandolfini's acting ability. Tony could be really fucking funny and then just go off and kill somebody.
Yeah.
Because he was, and he played that person dealing with like schizophrenia. No, he wasn't schizophrenic. He was dealing with depression, but he was also bipolar, right? He played that so well. What I really like about this show, it just feels like you're going to get a lot of really good stuff. It feels like you're going to get maybe a little bit more action than you got, because there's obviously somebody in Bel-Air that's maybe out to get Will, who traveled from Philadelphia. I feel like we're going to get good music. We heard it in the trailer. We're going to get like fashion, and you're going to get like up to date type of things. But I do feel like you're going to get some really good storytelling. But you're right. I do hope it's not too far of a departure from the comedy, which was the core of the show that we got in the original installment.
Well, yeah, and I feel like they're going to want, because we know this is a dramatic retelling of the story. I feel like I hope they don't feel like they have to compensate, meaning that, like, I hope they don't feel like they have to go super dramatic in order to kind of distance itself from the original. But one thing that actually did come out, I don't know if you saw this skit from SNL where they did since they're coming out with Bel-Air, they're coming out with Urkel, where it's just like a dramatic retelling of
They
family
are?
members.
They're really doing
No,
that?
they're not.
It
Really
was a
doing
joke?
It. It's just
Gotcha,
like
I was
it
about
was
to
like a
say.
skit that they did, and I was watching the skit. It was actually, I wasn't sure how to feel about it. It was kind of like, it was kind of funny, but also it was just like, damn, this is how you niggas see niggas.
Yeah.
Like,
It was like, oh, let's put Pete Davidson in it. He's colored, isn't he? Just make this thing.
not like it was just I don't know. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I wasn't exactly sure why it rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's move on with our next trailer here. So yeah, I know this is something you're going to enjoy very much. I don't know if you've already watched the trailer for this, but
I haven't.
Oh, there you go.
I have not.
You've been good. So we've got Power Book 4. Force, and this one has to do. We've had Power, the original series. We've had Power Book 2, Ghost. We've had Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, and now we're getting Power. What the fuck happened to Tasha? Is she dead?
What did happen to Tasha?
Did you ever end up actually watching Ghost?
So in Power Book 2,
yeah.
She was in jail, and then Tariq was trying to get her out of jail.
Yeah.
I never finished it, but before I watch this, because I definitely want to watch Force, I'm going to watch the Power Book. I'm going to watch Power Book 2 and then 3 and then whatever. All the fucking... I hear BMF is great. A lot of people say BMF was actually better than Power, which is interesting.
I don't know what the fuck that is. What is BMF?
It's like the story, so it's another 50%. 50%.
That should be his nickname, right? 50%.
It's another...
I'm sure somebody has that nickname.
Probably.
50%.
You don't earn that nickname for a good reason. You know what I mean? Your girl's all, you can't get it up. You're always 50%.
Your dick game is 50%.
Oh, shit.
Whoops.
But no, so I didn't finish the show, but BMF is like another 50%.
Jesus.
I said it
you
again.
really want him to be 50%.
It's another 50 Cent
Yikes.
production. I think he's like the executive producer of it, and it's about like Big Meech. You know how all the rappers rap about Big Meech. It's that story.
Gotcha. So this follows Tommy as he cuts ties and puts New York in his rearview mirror for good. Headed out west, I believe, to Cali, California. Yep. This is I guess created by Robert Munich and multiple writers, of course, and of course stars Joseph Sikora as Tommy Egan. Also stars Chris Lofton, Gabrielle Ryan, and Paulina Negen. and is due out February 6th of this particular year. I'm assuming this is going to be on Stars as well as I'm sure we're going to get some guest appearances from some people we know.
I would imagine there are going to be a few people who are going to make appearances.
Yeah,
do you mean like
Lobos is dead, or Logos, whatever the fuck his name is?
Yeah, there are going to be has to be some people from the original story that are going to resurface in some way or another. But I feel like Power had a lot of like really interesting cast members. So I'm interested to see who, like, you know, celebrities. He's in LA, of course. I'm interested to see who else pops up in the show.
Yeah,
fucking LeBron or something like that.
Yeah, 50's just going to pop back up. Like, guys, I'm live somehow. My fucking
Eminem.
reanimated corpse.
I would be surprised if Eminem's in this shit. Something like that.
All right, let's check it out. Power Book 4. Force.
And this crazy white boy saved your alleged gun jamming ass and just bounce with your paper and drugs.
Like Casper the Ghost.
What did you find out about the mystery man?
New York is over. This is my chance.
Tommy goes, honestly. I just want to see more of Tommy.
Yo, you know, what I was going to say right before we, or as I was watching it, is that I'm glad that he's getting his own show. And I don't really care. Like, we talked about it before. I think the Power story is just so convoluted and stupid that I hate it.
Love it.
I fucking hate it. But I do think that Tommy was a character that we didn't get to explore enough, even though we spent a lot of fucking time with him. We spent a lot of time with Tommy and still kind of don't fucking understand Tommy at all. Like, I don't think we understand his like motives. I don't think he's just like, I'm just a killer. That's just who the fuck I am. That's what I am. I wish we could get like a little bit more into that. Like, well, obviously we have this stuff with his mom. You know, his mom has a lot to do with, you know, the way he's turned out. His dad has a lot to do with the way he's turned out. Ghost had a lot to do with the way he's turned out. But I still don't think we understand Tommy. I don't think that we're going to be able to get to like know Tommy, but at least he gets his own platform where they have no choice but to explain some shit with Tommy. Yeah. They need some content for the next season.
They're gonna have to give us something a little bit. They're gonna have to dig a little bit deeper and give us like some insight into his psyche and like who he is as a person. And I feel like his relationship with Ghost, the way they kind of set it up, especially towards the end, was like it was somewhat of a codependent relationship, right? Yeah. Like they were brothers, but he was kind of like his little brother, right? And this is going to be Tommy's chance to like move out of the house, you know, go off to college, and you find yourself, and you become like your own man in a sense. I'm looking forward to this. This shit looks great. Yeah, 100%. Fuck, now I have to get Stars. Damn, what am I going to cancel? I can't keep everything. I may have to cancel like Apple TV.
Yo, we gotta. I was gonna talk to you about this. We gotta tag team this. This is. We gotta like go through our list of like
who has what.
You pay for that, I pay for this. Like we gotta like, because it's getting dumb. Yeah. It's getting dumb. I'm not gonna lie. Like, but we gotta keep it small. It can't be like none of that 18,000 people have the fucking the sign in shit. Because then when you're trying to watch, that is kicking you off because somebody else is watching.
Oh man, that's the worst. Yeah, that's happened a few times, but that is the worst. Yeah, we'll have to connect offline because we don't want them to know our.
No. Yeah, we can't. You got to keep that quiet for them. They'll definitely hear that shit. Cut our stream on the podcast. Cut the fucking connection with
mid-episode.
Yeah. So yeah, let's hop to our final trailer here. I'm excited to see this because we've been hearing about it for a while now, but we just got a trailer for Moon Knight that premiered actually during the halftime of the LA Rams versus the Arizona Cardinals Monday Night Football, the last of the year. So this story talks about or focuses on a former Marine struggling with a dissociative identity disorder, who is granted the powers of an Egyptian moon god, but he soon finds out that these newfound powers can be both a blessing and a curse to his troubled life. This is a show created by Jeremy Slater, obviously multiple writers, but of course the incomparable Oscar Isaac, one of my favorite actors, I think, of all time, dude. I there is nothing that this man can do that I'm like, I don't like it. There's nothing. I've never seen him in a movie where I'm like,
Yeah,
Didn't like it.
I don't think there's ever been he's like Steph Curry, you know what I mean? It's just fucking...
Just keep shooting.
No
he
matter
keeps
what
making them.
character, even some shit I've seen, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to believe Oscar Isaac in this particular role in this movie. Lights it the fuck up.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this looks like it's going to be another hit for me. I'm not going to lie, I've seen the trailer.
You son of a bitch.
It was during my Rams Arizona games.
I turned the channel. That's what I did.
I couldn't do it. Couldn't turn away.
Son of a bitch.
But there are some things that I think I saw or that I may have missed that I want to re-see. So let's do it.
So also in this, we have Ethan Hawke. We have Gaspard Ulliel. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, but we just found out that he passed away. So condolences there. And then May Calama. Why? Sure, let's go with that. This is due out March 30th of this year. Without further ado, let's check out Moon Knight. Whoops. Let's see here. 3, 2.
Hello, and welcome to Staying Awake.
I have a sleeping disorder. I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
Hello, and welcome to Staying Awake.
I think I'm losing it.
Real catch you are. You're bloody useless, Stevie.
Stephen. I can't tell the difference between life and dreams.
Thank you.
Lost the contact lens.
Hope you find it.
Thanks. Now hold the phone. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're alive. What's wrong with you, Mark?
Why did you call me Mark? It must be very difficult. Voice in your head. Shut up! There's chaos in you. Embrace the chaos.
Oof. Okay, that was pretty fucking intense, is what I can tell you. All right. What are your thoughts?
Obviously, Oscar Isaac, I think he's going to do great in this role. He has the acting ability to make whatever story that they're going to tell here, in my opinion, believable. We've seen him in many roles, so I'm not worried about that. I love the costume design for the Moon Knight. Very, very, very consistent with the comic book. So the Moon Knight, I think he's kind of, his powers are given to him by like the moon god. I believe it's like Khonshu or something like that. Sure. So, and he has like this dissociative, what is it called? Dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah. It's basically what we used to call multiple personality.
Or schizophrenia, multiple. Yeah.
Well, schizophrenia, yeah, that's a whole different. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. But dissociative identity disorder is basically the same, or what we used to identify as multiple personalities.
Yeah. So he's former CIA operative, former mercenary with dissociative identity disorder, who is now somewhat chosen to become this the keeper of the night, right? Moon Knight. I really like this story. I love how Marvel is somewhat finding these characters that have like really, really great stories, and they're bringing it to life. Like this one, nobody really saw this coming, but this looks like a phenomenal story. So I did some like background research on the character itself, and this is a lot of people say Moon Knight is like Batman's, like a knockoff of Batman, right? Because they're both like these night prowling vigilante, crime fighters, right? But I think they have very interesting, unique stories, and I love Moon Knight's story. I also know that Moon Knight would fuck Batman up. You know, he's got powers.
Yeah, he's actually got powers.
He doesn't have many powers. He's not like as strong as like Captain America or Thor or any of those guys, but he's got powers.
What's his bank account look like? Because that's usually how Batman fucks people up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, there's a big
economics.
Yeah, there's a conversation going on right now about like who would actually win in a fight. I think Moon Knight etches out Batman in terms of like hand-to-hand physical combat. Moon Knight has been known to like display certain powers, like elevated human strength, and you know he can glide with the cape, somewhat kind of like a Spawn type of character. Where Batman would win is like you know, in the gadgets and the tech and all that stuff. But this story looks great. I wonder how this is going to tie into the greater MCU, because it is alleged that this character will be featured in other upcoming Marvel projects. There are a lot of people on the internet right now talking about a potential future for what is it called? Sons of the Night, I think it's called. Where it's like a mashup. It's kind of like the Defenders, right? And I think Sons of the Night it's Moon Knight, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, maybe Luke Cage is a part of this group, maybe not. But it's like those nighttime dwelling street level Marvel superheroes. So I'm really looking forward to this.
I mean, there's a mashup of literally everybody. Like there's a group for, they've got like one that's called the Illuminati that some are speculating they're gonna have like Doctor Strange and other people in it and shit like that. It's just like, yo, they've got 8,000 different groups. All right. All of them have spin-offs of each other. All of them have like young versions of the group. We're probably at some point going to get the Young Avengers. It's like everybody's got a fucking click. All right. So like whenever I see anybody, I just assume that they're about to click up with somebody else, you know? But seeing this trailer, man, interesting trailer. A little different than what I was going into expecting. But still interesting nonetheless. I'm very interested to see what Ethan Hawke's going to do here with his character. And I purposely didn't like look up what anybody's character was. I made that mistake with I remember watching the Winter Soldier. And I remember looking up, oh man, wait, who the fuck is this Winter Soldier guy? You know, and I found, oh shit, it's Bucky. I was like, fuck. All right. Well, I ruined that for myself. So I kind of, and I'm trying to do this with a lot of these sort of like, you know, Marvel, DC things, trying to kind of just stay away from the rumor mill. Like, so for Doctor Strange, I'm really, even though it's fucking hard because people in their fucking thumbnails just put up hey, this thing's happening. It's like, motherfucker, slow down. Like, I didn't ask for that. Like, you know, it's so funny how people, start everything off. Spoiler alert. It's like, motherfucker, you spoiled it for me with your headline, with like, with like the actual thumbnail that you threw up. You've let everything that, you know, that I didn't want to know known. But this looks really interesting. Really interesting that they're talking about like a lot of you know, obviously they're going to be dealing with like a lot of like mental health things here with this dissociative identity disorder. And then this is coming from an interesting time for me because it comes on the heels of me. I remember telling the story. I'm pretty sure I told it on the podcast of me taking an edible and having a very interesting reaction to it. And so, you know, while I don't. You know, and it remains to be seen, but I don't think I have any sort of like actual like mental health issues from that perspective. It gave me a very clear window into what it could be. And so this trailer comes at a very sort of interesting time where I'm like, yeah, okay, that you know, that's interesting, you know. But I think Marvel's getting towards a moment here where they need to find either the next Tony Stark or they need to find their next Captain America. They need to find somebody to hook onto because I don't think it's going to be Spider-Man because I think who knows how that whole thing's going to go with, you know, Sony and Marvel. So it's probably not going to be him. Maybe it'll be, and much to your chagrin, it might be Captain Marvel. It might be Brie Larson with the new Captain Marvel that's going to come out. But they need to find somebody soon because we need somebody to anchor the ship. Or it might be Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah, it could be you know, Falcon, who's donning the Captain America mantle now.
But you see how
so we know that Captain America 4 movie is coming.
That was so long ago that I can't even.
You forgot about that?
I forgot about that completely. And when I say that long ago, that was like literally just like last year, right? That was 2001 that I think, or 2021 rather. That Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I guess Captain America and the Winter Soldier came out. Either way, they need to steer us in a very clear direction here, because I'm starting to get a little like, what should I be watching here? Because I can't watch all this shit. Like it's tough to follow all these fucking, like they had their storylines from the Eternals.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking for Blade. Now I'm looking for Black Saber, whatever the fuck that dude's called. Black Knight.
Black Knight. Yep.
Yeah, whatever the fuck he was called.
So I mean, and I'm glad you mentioned that, right? Because here's where I think, again, I hope that this is a thing that's coming down the pipeline. And what I actually mentioned, I think I said like Sons of the Night or something like that. This group is actually called Midnight Suns, right? So this is a darker group, right? So we know Blade is coming, right?
Like literally, like they're all like black. I'm joking.
No. But like, so Midnight Suns, the members of this group are Blade, the Punisher, Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, and Moon Knight, right? So we know a Blade movie is coming. That's been confirmed. I believe that it's confirmed that now that the Netflix Punisher has ended, that project is going to come back under Disney Plus.
They should just
bring John Bernthal back. Start production today. Just make it up as you go. I don't care. It's gonna, as long as you bring John Bernthal back, like it'll be good. Just
I don't know why I can't see him in like any other role. We saw him in King Richard, and I was just waiting for him to fucking let loose on somebody.
What else did I see him in recently? He was in something else recently that was really good. He played like a somewhat of a quirky guy. It was
really
that movie with Miss Congeniality, Sandra Bullock. It was like a Netflix.
Interesting how you say her name.
Bullock.
I'm pretty sure it's Bullock.
So it was a movie with Sandra Bullock. John Bernthal was in it. It was a Netflix original film released in 2021. Really good movie. So yeah, I saw him in that. He was great in that. But anyway, so the Midnight Suns, Blade. We know Blade movie's coming. I'm pretty sure Punisher's coming. Doctor Strange. We've seen plenty of Doctor Strange. Ghost Rider. It is rumored that they have greenlit a new Ghost Rider project, and I think they're going to use the same guy from the original, from the Ghost Rider version of. It was like one of the Netflix shows, not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a little bit, Ghost Rider. But it was like a young guy, not Nicolas Cage, of course, a young guy who played Ghost Rider who was fucking phenomenal as Ghost Rider.
I didn't even know they had Ghost Rider. And
yeah.
He's already been introduced in it.
He's been introduced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And
Shit.
if they bring that guy back, he is like, we got the original Punisher movie with that actor. I forget his name. He was pretty good as Punisher. But
it's like John something, right?
Yeah, but then we got John Bernthal. I was like, yo, this guy's fucking serious.
Yeah.
We got Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider, and then this younger guy that they got in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he was like, he could go toe-to-toe with Punisher. Now, granted, he'd fuck Punisher up, but anyway.
Set him on fire, right?
Yeah, right. So that project is coming, and then Moon Knight, we know. So like all the pieces of this puzzle are there. They just have to find a way to put it all together. So I'm excited to see what comes next from this.
Yeah. Either way, I think we're pretty excited about Moon Knight coming through. But at last, we move forward. Let's jump into our last story here. So last year, or I guess the year before, I forget exactly what the timing is. We started hearing rumors. Not even rumors, but there were accusations made by Ray Fisher against not only Joss Whedon, but basically the entirety of the WB, basically sort of taking them to task for conditions in which he said were basically abusive conditions on the set of Justice League. Now, for those who don't remember, Justice League was kind of a troubled production because it, of course, was it began with Zack Snyder as the director, but then I think his daughter passed away, and so he stepped away for that. But I think that WB didn't really like the direction that Justice League was going in anyways. So when he stepped away because of his daughter's passing in order to spend time with his family, they saw it as like an opportunity to just kind of push him out of the back door from the production overall. And so they then asked Joss Whedon to step in to essentially retool the things that had already been shot and reshoot some other things, and kind of like right the ship, I guess, as far as their viewpoint was for the film. And of course, that is what led to Ray Fisher then saying that conditions on the set were pretty poor and downright abusive at times from Joss Whedon, and that maybe WB, or not maybe, he essentially said that WB was also culpable in it, and that they didn't really do anything to sort of like rectify the situation.
Yeah.
And so after that, basically just like an avalanche of other people came out and said that, yeah, Joss Whedon's, he's a dick.
Yeah,
that dude's a dick.
In 2017, his ex-wife published that letter, that open letter, pretty much calling him like a hypocrite. You know, because of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, people thought of him as...
bring the mic a little closer, sorry.
Because of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, people saw him as like this like Hollywood, like ally, this feminist ally.
Oh, he was
Hollywood, right?
He was much heralded as the, you know, and I read there was an article that just came out in Vulture, which is, I guess, a part of the New York, either the New York Times or New York. I think it's New York Times. I'm pretty sure it's the New York Times. And I read the whole article. I didn't read a side to the article. I read the actual article itself. And it details how, you know, basically his history. Whoever wrote this was a pretty actually good writer. That they build this story of how Joss Whedon from the beginning, where he was kind of just an awkward person and didn't really have like a family of his, or wasn't really accepted by, you know, his own family. So he sort of made this other family based off of the work that he was creating. So the way that we're sort of told it's because his mom was, a feminist and kind of instilled those things in him that he too then sort of not only identified as such, but try to show that he was a feminist through his work, which led him to producing or writing, directing or writing and show running Buffy the Vampire Slayer. By all accounts, and there's still some argument of whether Buffy, there's some people who look at it different ways. That one aspect is, it's definitely a flip on the narrative, that women, especially at that age, it's blonde, stupid names. Oh, they don't have anything to offer. They're stupid or whatever. And Buffy kind of flipped that on its head, where it made her, the character with a voice, and with agency, who were fighting off all these sort of, terrible things. Anyways, so he kind of built sort of a cult of his own, given the popularity of Buffy, that, these online forums where, and this is again at the beginning stages of the internet, so I know it's a very long time ago.
Early
people
blogs,
don't remember.
and chat rooms.
Exactly.
Remember people used to be in chat rooms?
Yeah, chat rooms is popping back in the day. Yo, they used to be live because you didn't know what was going to happen. Everybody was new to the shit.
Trying to read 50 conversations at once. I don't know what's going on. I'm just having fun with it.
Yeah, I remember actually like connecting with people like online and thinking, this is the weirdest shit ever. I don't know what the fuck this person looks like. I've never seen this person a day in my life, and yet we're connecting, we're vibing. It was just weird. Yeah. Weird time. Yeah. And now it's just like, no, that's the
found out years later he got catfish. We're talking a fat old white guy.
Probably.
I don't know. Yeah. Most likely.
It's probably Joss Whedon.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yo, what if it's a strange wild universe? That's true.
Anyways, so he essentially built sort of this following based off of Buffy and the people who enjoyed Buffy, and it sort of gave him this sort of inflated ego, right? Like everybody's like, oh my God, you're such a feminist, you're great, you're this, you're that. And then he got to show run other shows, right? So Angel, Firefly, Dollhouse, all these other shows that he got to show run. Not only that, but then he went on to direct the Avengers, which one of the, it sparked off, or I guess it solidified the start of the MCU, right? Like it had been built up through Iron Man, and then all the other individual movies like Thor and Captain America and all these other individual movies. And then it culminated in the Avengers, and they tasked Joss Whedon with that. Now, flash forward to now, in which basically there have been a number of people who've come out and said that their experiences with Joss Whedon have been, shall we say, less than stellar.
Yeah.
So Ray Fisher, as we talked about, was one of them on the set of Justice League. And then we have Charisma Carpenter, who is another notable person who she
was in the Angel spinoff.
No, she was in the Buffy spinoff, which was Angel.
Okay.
And so, I
yeah, sorry.
I make
is Angel. Yeah.
Yeah. And I look for anybody who needs to know out there. I am an avid Buffy fan. I am an avid Angel fan. It was like one of the first shows that I remember like, oh, this is my shit. This is, I love this.
Like,
this
I love this thing.
This is my thing right here. And so Charisma Carpenter, who played, Cordelia on in both Buffy and Angel, she explained how he was just kind of casually, as she puts it, casually cruel to her.
Yeah.
And once she was pregnant, that he essentially, now again, this is what she was saying. Not that it's not true, but this is essentially her account, is that he called her fat. He asked her if she's going to keep it. Just a lot of shit that were just like, what the fuck? This is out of bounds, right?
Yeah.
And then other people like Michelle Trachtenberg, and I think I'm pronouncing her name right, who played Buffy's sister on the show. It then came out that there was like a rule that, we can't even leave Joss alone with her because of a specific meeting that they had in which she came out in tears. So after that, they were like, yeah, Josh can't be allowed. Now, apparently he didn't know anything about this. So he says, but anyways, just a lot of shit, a lot of smoke, and not really any fires, but enough smoke where it's just like, there's a fire somewhere here.
Yeah.
And so, all of that has culminated in Joss Whedon responding to all of these, accusations and criticisms, in this article, for Vulture. Now, did you read parts of it or okay.
Mm-hmm.
What was your takeaway from his account?
I think Joss Whedon doesn't really understand too much about like how his comments, in certain situations may have been cruel or unnecessary, or I feel like, I don't know if it's like an arrogance thing where he's like, well, I am who I am. I'm the creator of these things. And like, I made a few comments, but no big deal. And, like a half-hearted sorry. Like that feels like his vibe. Like his comments about Ray Fisher was basically just like, he's just not that good of an actor. The sentiment towards, the comments that were made by Gal Gadot and how she felt like...
Oh, sorry. And Gal Gadot was a part of that too, where she said that she had very specific instances with him where he essentially was like threatening her.
Yeah.
And then he kind of passed that off as like just in like the worst way possible. He said, well, English isn't her first language.
Yes.
And I can say very flowery things, using language. And it was just like if that is just casual advice to anybody out there, if your response to anything is, oh, well, English isn't their first language, you're probably wrong about the thing you're saying. You should probably just rethink that entire fucking situation, right? Because there should never be a point where you have to point to somebody not being English not being their first language, that you're like, well, that's a justification
I
for
insulted
our perceived misunderstanding.
But you may have misunderstood because English isn't your first language. I definitely still insulted you.
You don't know English, bro. Like, what could I say?
I made a joke about you being a fat whore. Like, it was just a joke. English isn't your first language.
You
so
just
you
don't
understand.
Get it. You didn't get it.
And so he has this casualness to... He has this casual, like, unapologetic vibe to him. But I haven't met the motherfucker. I didn't go to his house, so like, who knows? But he really does seem to me like he doesn't understand why, maybe the things he said or the things he did were wrong. And I can't tell if it's arrogance or if he's just ignorant to his behavior and his comments. And he feels like one of those person who may gaslight. Well, like you're wrong. Like you're the one who said the wrong thing, or you're just perceiving what I said wrong. Like I didn't actually. Like he has. Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people talking about, oh, he's a narcissist, he's a sociopath, all these other things. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know what's in this dude's heart. I know that you're right in that he doesn't seem like he like understands like everything that's going on. It just seems like, oh, the world's falling apart around me.
There's an explanation for like every interaction. Yeah, it seems like, and he feels like it seems like he can explain it away. Like, oh, English is not her first language. Or,
Yeah.
he just wasn't that good of an actor.
There's no accountability.
Yeah.
There's no, I did something wrong. Even though I think at various points he admits, like with his ex-wife, he's like, yeah, I did do some shit that was like fucked up. There's other shit that she might have said that I didn't necessarily think I did. But and everything is kind of coded in like, that's no, like there's no full-throated apology. Now, twisting the plot. I dig it. You know why I dig it?
He's like digging his own grave?
No, not at all. Or he might be. I don't fucking know. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen in this situation. I'm just guessing, as things usually go with white dudes. At some point, he'll make some sort of weird comeback, and we'll all be like, yeah, whatever.
He'll get another chance.
Yeah. I assume that'll happen at some point. No, the reason why I dig it, and it's been interesting seeing a lot of the responses for this, because some of the responses are, I can't believe that Joss Whedon isn't apologizing for shit. But here's what my argument is, and I get into this argument with my girlfriend all the time. I'm sure you've had this same argument too. It's like, if I'm not actually sorry about something, then why the fuck am I apologizing?
Yeah.
Because it's an empty apology, right? I understand apologizing because you hurt somebody's feelings. So you're just like, sure, I didn't mean to like hurt your feelings, right? But this isn't that kind of situation, right? People are making accusations and he's truly like, I don't think I did anything wrong. The reason why I dig it isn't because I'm endorsing the things he did. The reason why I dig it is because it's like, yeah, if you're an asshole, let everybody know you're an asshole. That's part of what the fucking problem is that he was showing one face to the world, or the world at large, right? Like the fans who are of Buffy who didn't really know him, he was showing one face to them, and then fucking on set behind the scenes, he was showing a different face to the people who were closest to him, like the cast, the crew, his actual family, literally his ex-wife. He was showing a different face to them. That's part of the fucking problem. It's like, if you're a dick, they're Trump, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows he's an asshole, right? So when Trump does asshole things, we're not like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Trump's an asshole, right?
Now, some people surprisingly are, which I don't understand, because
but
there's so much evidence around there.
But that's why he was able to be president. That's why he hasn't been arrested for, I'm sure, the numerous financial frauds that he's conducted, is because everybody's just like, yeah, we kind of expect this from Trump. Like even though there are some people who are definitely like, oh my God, like look at this. I've at times been like, I can't, because it's just like there seems to be no bottom to that well. It seems like it's a never ending well of just assholery, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like we're like, when it comes out, he says something about somebody or he does something. It's not like that's so out of character for him. Like, so for instance, there's people who have gotten in trouble because, like, people who do far less shit and get in far more trouble than somebody like Trump, because it's completely out of character, right? And nobody specific is coming to mind, but what I'm saying is, I'm sure still received all the same.
Yeah.
So when Joss Whedon here is basically like, I'm not apologizing for shit, like in no uncertain terms. Like, he's like, yeah, I think it's kind of just them. I think they just got kind of like issues on their own. The reason why I dig it is because it's like, great for you. If you're an asshole, I need you to announce that shit to the world so that there can be no confusion about what happens here forward, right? Exactly. So that when he steps on set, it's not like, I'm thinking that Joss Whedon's going to be like this benevolent dude who never says anything, who never tells me to shut the fuck up or fucking throws some coffee in my face or some shit. I'm pretty much signing on knowing that that's probably going to be the case. And if I do, then shit's on me then.
Yeah.
In that case.
I remember this DMX interview I was watching, the late great DMX, who Earl Simmons, who passed away, was it last year?
2021.
And in the interview, he's basically talking about like, trust a person who's telling you who they are. Like, when someone tells you who they are, listen to them. Believe them. Trust a snake to be a snake. Trust a dog to be a dog. Trust a liar to be a liar. And when they show you who they are, like, it is up to you to believe them. For whatever reason, if you choose not to believe them, they've told you who you are, that's your fault, right?
It's on you.
So in a situation like this, you got Joss Whedon. Time and time again, he's shown that he's a bit of a dick, right?
Not a bit of a dick. He's a dick. Straight up dick. So the shit that he said about Gal Gadot was just like, it's like, even if you're even if you're kind of like unapologetic, your brain would stop you from being like, oh, she English is their second language. Like there's something that should be in your brain that's like, perhaps if I'm putting this in a fucking interview with somebody, perhaps maybe leave that part out and be like, I don't know, maybe it was just a misunderstanding.
Because a normal person would be like, you know what? Maybe English isn't their first language, but they still know. Like, they're still intelligent enough.
And that's essentially what Gal Gadot said. Gal Gadot was like, no, there were no misunderstandings. I knew exactly what the fuck you're talking about. And how she's the fucking lead in an entire fucking franchise.
Yeah. And the director and the actor and
she's had so many movies that she's been in. She's done so many things. And you're like, oh, well, English isn't her first language.
Exactly.
Fuck you.
So in this case, you're right. You're right. Trust Joss Whedon to be who he has presented himself to be.
Yeah.
He's told everybody who he is. He refuses to apologize. Probably doesn't feel like he has anything to apologize for. We know he's a dick. And this whole and we talked about this at the top of the show. Just kind of like how our society is today. And one of the things that this reminds me of is like this thing I believe it was either in a conversation or a quote, but it's like, as society, we've reached a point where we are taught to be so tolerant that we now tolerate the intolerable, right? Whereas like someone will be a racist, a sexist, a woman beater, a fucking xenophobe, like a Trump, right?
Yeah.
And we're taught to like, tolerate them, forgive them. They know not what they do. Like, teach them, if they fuck up, apologize, give them a second chance. It's like, sir, we got to stop giving people as many chances as we give them. Like, I feel like at a certain point, we need to be, you said this earlier, I think this is the comment you made. Like, there needs to be a line that we draw.
Yeah.
And, that it's a hard line. It's not a soft line. It's a hard line, and we've drawn it.
I think that's what's tough about society, right? Like, so, like, take for instance, even this very podcast, right? Like, there will be people who hear certain things on this podcast and be like, "Yo, that was fucking out of bounds. You guys should be fucking disqualified from having any podcast. You shouldn't talk about anything. Nobody should fucking listen to you. You're the fucking worst, right?" There would be people who would say that. Then there'd be other people who'd be like, nah, podcast is perfectly fine. They don't say anything out of bounds. What I'm trying to say with that is, like, we all have different fucking levels, but the problem is right now is that we're all like we're becoming way more interconnected. So that social norm it used to be like the people in your neighborhood had a particular social norm, right? And now it's like, okay, we know what the fuck's going on here. We know what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. We can kind of figure what that line is. But once that ever so expanding circle starts expanding well beyond where you're at, then it becomes confusing, because then somebody down south, right, their social norms are suddenly having to be accepted by people up north, right?
Yeah.
People up north, their social norms are starting to have to be accepted by people down south. But it's like, it's two completely different things where you might say or do some shit. And I'm like, and I guess, that's, I guess, sort of what the fuck Joss was saying by saying, oh, well, she English isn't first language. But then with some shit, you just got to be like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? That's
and I know that's a bit of a pipe dream, because like, as society, made up of many different people with many different perspectives, it's going to be hard to get 100 people to agree on one thing, much less millions of people across the world from different areas and from different backgrounds. But shit like, this Joss Whedon thing, like, we know he's a dick. Should he continue to get chance after chance after chance? I'm not saying that like the man should never work again, never be able to support himself or feed his family. Well, but like,
if he was a smart man, he would have come out. And I think that's what the weird thing is about like society period is like, if you were to come out and just be like a full-throated, oh, I'm so sorry for everything. I apologize if I ever offended or did anything to anybody. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I was just going through some things, yada yada. If you would have come out and say that, we basically would have been, because he hasn't. It's not like so far the stories haven't been like, oh, he like raped somebody or he like touched somebody or he did something without somebody's consent. Those aren't, at least that's not the current, iteration of this. We'll give it time, see how it turns out. But so it seems like he could have just come out and apologized. The fact that he didn't, to me, is just like, you know what? Good on you, because it's possible that you don't fucking work again.
And I'm fine with that. Like, if he doesn't feel he does anything wrong, or he didn't do anything wrong, he doesn't want to apologize, no problem. Again, you told me who you were, I accept it, and I as a consumer I'm not going to fuck with your shit anymore. I'm not going to buy your shit. I'm not going to go see your shit. I'm not going to be around your shit. None of that. But I do feel like I wish, at least as a society, we stop wanting people to say sorry because
for the sake of fucking saying sorry. Like it's
a lot
like
of people just
I
want
get
to
it.
hear it.
I get it in that sometimes you just want to hear somebody apologize, just acknowledge that they did something wrong, right? I just fucking need to hear you acknowledge that you did something fucked up, right? That's it. But this, like, I aggressively hate when people apologize when I know they don't fucking mean it. It's just like, why are you saying it then? Then what the fuck is the point? If you still believe in the same shit, then why the fuck are you apologizing? It's so fucking empty.
And
like,
in situations
it's the
like
emptiest
this,
thing in the world.
The apology really only helps a person. Like I'm sure his publicist is probably like, Josh, just issue an apology. We'll let this thing die down. We'll let it blow over.
And then what? We're all gonna fucking wash our hands of it and then fucking move on.
We'll let Army Hammer take the heat, and then and then
well, he's got a movie coming out right now, so I don't know, but so there are a couple points that I didn't want to make from the article. For one of the things that stood out for me, so there was a person who was interviewed who she started with a different name, but she goes by Rebecca X now. So she was an interesting read in this because I think her viewpoint was that of, I guess, the average person who might have like worked with Joss, right? Which is, look, I've had some terrible interactions with him. I've also had great interactions with him. I've had both, right?
Yeah.
Now at a certain point, she does say like, look, I also have a penchant for liking terrible people. So, take of this what you will, right? But she did say something that I thought was very key. She said, my point is, it was a dick. I guess he like said something to her or he did something to her or something like that at some point in time that either made her cry or something like that, right? But how she ended it was, my point is, it was a dick move, but I wouldn't call it abuse. Now, the reason why I bring that up isn't to be like, oh, well, look, Joss Whedon isn't abusive. My point is depending on who you were, he might have been, right? Yeah. So like all parties might be right in this case. So the nuance that we're missing here is that Ray Fisher and Gal Gadot, all of them might have had a certain experience with Joss Whedon, right? But Joss Whedon was also stepping in for Zack Snyder. So Zack Snyder, it was possible that he set an atmosphere for, like, even with Ray Fisher, right? There was like, they talked about like, or Ray Fisher talked about how it was more of a collaboration process with Zack Snyder than it was with Joss Whedon, where it was kind of like he was like essentially writing the movie with Zack Snyder, where with Joss Whedon was like, motherfucker, I don't take notes from anybody. Yeah. And it feels like you're giving me notes right now. I don't even take notes from Robert Downey Jr. was, I think, a quote from the article. But both people, their experiences are valid, right? Joss could think, this is how I do shit. This is how I run shit, right? Like I just, and for people now to like act like, I wouldn't say a majority of directors, but if they act like this is something that's like fucking brand new in Hollywood, is fucking rich. Like that's a little, now we're playing revisionist history with everything now, right? If we're just like, now it's like, this is the first time we've ever heard of a director being an asshole to somebody, or I guess the difference here is that Joss Whedon,
on multiple accounts from multiple people. And
well, like not even just the multiple accounts, but like the fact that he presented himself as such a staunch feminist and that. So then it always bites you in the ass when you and I don't know if he's pretending, right? I think he's just living his warped fucking truth, as crazy as it seems. But again, the reason why I brought that quote up was because it's like both things can be true. If you say something to me and I take offense by it, I can sincerely be offended by it, but you could have not have meant malice by it.
Yeah.
Right. That might just be just the way you fucking roll. You might just say shit bluntly. You might just, but both people can have valid experiences. I'm not saying that like somebody can't just do something that's like universally seen as like a dick thing to do. Right. Like if I go and fucking, slap a kid, right? That's a dick thing to do. Like, I don't think in any universe that's like, this is acceptable. It's like, no.
In certain cultures, in certain like African, in certain Chinese.
For sure. Especially during our generation, yes.
Slap the shit out of kids. That was discipline.
Yeah. But generally speaking, it's not an acceptable thing, especially right now. It's not an acceptable thing to do, right? There are certain things that, yes, universally, I think we can all socially accept that this is not an acceptable thing to do. But if you're talking about some of the accounts of what Joss Whedon did, he said a lot of fucked up shit to people, but it seems like, at least as far as this article goes, who knows, I don't know, it was a lot of, we went a lot of different places with this article. I couldn't tell where the angle was coming from.
It was
exactly.
super choppy.
Yeah, like I couldn't tell if it was pro Joss Whedon, if it was anti Joss Whedon, and it wasn't just like a middle line. It was either one extreme or the other. It was either like, Joss Whedon's an asshole. Also, maybe he's not an asshole. Like,
I remember this. At one point, I was reading. It was talking about how like the writer was invited to Joss Whedon's home. And it was like, basically just like bolstering up his home, like, oh, he invited me to his palatial estate in Malibu.
But I think that was kind of trying to make him seem like he's like kind of just like a Hollywood fuckboy. It seems like with that's what it was trying to paint for.
But like homie kind of gave his address away a little bit. Yeah, like, he lives 13 blocks. Like it literally said like he lives like just a stone throw away from the beach.
In Santa Monica. I was like
sitting on a corner property on like 3rd Street. Like they're going to take that out of the artitle. His security code on the gate is like, take that shit out.
The article was like it wasn't like just like a middle of the road article. It was basically bashing Josh or just making him look like a dick based solely off the things that he actually did and said. Or it was just like really sympathetic towards him, where it's just like, well, maybe that can be explained with X, Y, or Z. There was like kind of no middle ground. It was either one or the other. But then I think somebody else said, or that he said at the end of the article, he said, I think I'm one of the nicer showrunners that's ever been, is how Joss Whedon, and this is, I guess, months after they had the initial interview. And he says, I think I'm one of the nicer showrunners that's ever been.
That's just how he sees himself.
That's just how he sees himself, dude.
Yeah.
He really doesn't fucking, he doesn't see it.
And let's not fight that. Again, he told you who he is.
All right.
Just accept it.
Okay.
That's really all you got to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I just can't get over certain things that this article said. There's one excerpt. Whedon was the youngest of 3 boys, soft, slight, and anxious.
Yeah.
He had long red hair that caused people to mistake him for a girl.
Yeah.
If I'm Joss Whedon, I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
No, that's no. If you're actually Joss Whedon, that's actually I'm sure that was probably one of the
I'm
things
sure
that
it helps your image because like now.
No. I don't think it even. I don't think this is about what helps his image. I think that's literally like that was what painted his.
That was his like childhood, his experience.
But then also like when we start talking about him being, why people accepted him as being like a feminist and all that, that's what was like painting the picture for that, for why he went that route as far as being sort of like, oh, I'm the male feminist,
Yeah, no, but you're not gonna call me soft. I need you to remove that. I need you to edit that.
That's you.
I'm not doing any interviews with anybody else.
I believe they call that toxic masculinity. This is what I believe they call that.
Fuck it. Take it out.
But the other aspect that I want to talk about this, because from that last line that he said, it clearly he doesn't fucking get that there's a fucking problem, that perhaps you shouldn't just say all kinds of reckless shit to people, because perhaps that's not everybody's vibe. And whenever I'm dealing with a lot of people, it's just, you go with the lowest common denominator. Whoever is like the person who I know is going to have like, you have to deal with everybody individually, clearly. And you have to like, but this is why I want to talk about the filmmaking aspect of it, is as a director, you have to fucking know that. And I'm sure on some level, he understands this simple fact that you can't just say reckless shit to everybody. Not everybody is motivated by the same thing. Sometimes you're able, like I was watching an interview with Devontae Adams the other day, right? And they were talking about how Aaron Rodgers earlier in his career, he was just like, he would just fucking trash people because they fucked something up or something that he perceived as their fuck up, right? But like in his later career, Aaron Rodgers is a little bit more chill, like where he doesn't like fucking drag somebody out because they messed up something, there where it's a little bit more kid's glove, right? Devontae was like, look, I actually respond better because that's just what I've always known, to when somebody's just like, yo, you fucked something up, you need to fucking correct this shit. And they just tell me straight up, like, this is what it is. He's like, I respond better to that. There's some people who do respond better to that. But as a director, you're the fucking, you're the captain of the ship. You have to know what tools you need for what job. You can't just be there fucking using a hammer when you need to fit something through a fucking needle, right? Like that's not going to fucking work, right? So like, and I feel like people who have success early, this is a problem. They don't know how to like lead, because as a director, it's different from being like a writer, right? When you're a writer, you're just in the lab alone, you know, or you're just, that's just, you've got your one little job, right? Or not one little job. A writer's a pretty fucking important job, but you've just got your one job, right? But as a director or a showrunner, well, it's your responsibility to make all this shit work in unison, right? And one of the, you know, in the times that I've gotten a chance to direct things, it really is about working with people. And one thing that was abundantly clear from Joss Whedon, in fact, from the thing that he told Ray Fisher about, I don't fucking take notes, is like, yo, it's a fucking collaboration process.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be able, because if I'm going to get the best out of you, right? That's not going to come from me, right? Like, and this goes to just what my philosophy in terms of directing is like, I can only bring so much to the table. I can only bring so many words. I can only bring so many emotions to a page. I can only do so many things with a set. I can only do so much. The reason why I picked you for this particular job, or the reason why I feel like you're here, is because you bring something that's just, you add that little thing. In this character that I've put on the page, I believe that you can bring this character to life, but I need you to do it. I can't bring the character to life. You have to bring the character to life. So it never made any sense to me for you to bring an actor on set and then be like, say the words exactly how I wrote them, no alterations, and that's it. Because it's like, well, why the fuck am I here? Just go literally pay this dude $12 off the street to come and do this shit.
Exactly what
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck am I here if you're just going to fucking just tell me to read what's off the page and you don't want my input at all?
Yeah.
As the actor.
And this analogy applies, like, it's mostly used like when you talk about like the corporate world, right?
Yeah.
The difference between like a boss and a leader. Like, a boss just tells you what to do. A leader will show you how to do it, will help grow you, elevate you, will work with you.
Yeah.
And the same thing applies to, I'm glad you brought up the sports analogy. If you're the head coach of a team, it's like 50% managing people and personalities, and it's 50% running the team, the organization, calling the plays, knowing the game, blah, blah, blah. Same thing if you're a director for a film. Like, you have to know how to work with the talent, the actors, whether it's like your main star or even the people who have like a smaller role in the film. Like, you have to know how to manage those personalities and those people.
Yeah.
And then once you got those relationships set, now we can begin to do the work.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's at a point where he's had so much success early on in his career. He's like, well, I already know how to do my job.
Exactly.
I'm telling you how to do yours.
That's the problem of praising people so much, right? It's why I don't look. I might look. There's a little figure that I got right there for Christmas of Aaron Rodgers. Right, my favorite player in the NFL probably right is Aaron Rodgers. But if I ever
to throw an interception,
fair enough. Actually, he does that very regularly. So he's definitely not. Matthew Stafford maybe that's probably an interception.
Yeah, he's still allowed. I'm not even gonna argue that. He's still pick sixes too
fair
often.
Enough. But my point here is that if you're Joss Whedon, right, and you're setting the tempo on a set, right, what this whole article rang out to me is just simply a lack of communication, right? Whether if you're saying something and somebody takes it a particular way, this is just like being in a relationship, right? I've had so many conversations with my girlfriend where I say something and she takes it a certain way. She says something, I take it a certain way. And then we'll talk about it like maybe a week later, a day later, whatever the case is. And then we'll both be calm. We'll try to like figure out, okay, well, what were you trying to say?
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing that I was trying to say. And then we like figure that shit out. But if it's just like I say what I say and I don't give a fuck what you say, then of course there's going to be many times where you're going to say some shit that's actually going to offend people. And as the director or showrunner, you need to set the expectation on set that like if something actually does bother you, or if something's going on and you're frustrated with something, or maybe I said something that came across to you, you need to make that environment abundantly clear, or you need to set that temperature in the environment that like, look, you can come to me and tell me. The reason why we're talking about all this is because people didn't feel comfortable going to him afterwards, right? Ray Fisher even said it himself, or it was in an article somewhere where it said that or I think Joss even said it himself, like, oh, like I think he said this of Charisma Carpenter too, of like, oh, all the interactions we had were like cordial and charming,
yeah,
you know? And it's just like, well, yeah, motherfucker, we can have 80% of our interactions can be dope as shit, right?
Yeah.
But if that 20% is trash, then what the fuck is good is the rest of the 80%, right? And
then after that, like after we have those negative interactions, at that point, I may just be faking it just for the sake of keeping my job because you may have more authority, more power than me.
Exactly.
So our interactions, like you may have thought they were pleasant,
but you haven't set that expectation that I'm not going to retaliate against you simply because something I said offended you, or something didn't rub the right way, or you didn't understand what I said, or you thought what I said was wrong. You have to set that on, and if it's not, then you know who the fuck you are. Then you know you're an asshole, and you replied exactly the way you did with Joss Whedon. Last thing I'll say, the thing that is being missed in all of this, right? The thing that I feel like nobody's fucking talking about was something actually that Ray Fisher said: the culpability of the studio.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Joss Whedons of the world. It's a statistical inevitability that you're going to end up with somebody like Joss Whedon leading a project, right?
Yeah.
At some point in time, right? It is the studio's responsibility to know what the fuck is going on and to set that environment themselves, that if something is going on, you can come to us and talk to us about what the fuck's going on. It's only because they know the studio doesn't give a shit that people don't feel comfortable going then to the studio or whoever is behind the producers for the project and saying, yo,
yeah, it's like if I file a complaint to HR against my boss, and then the people from HR, because they're like, hey, we need that person, we need this creative director, we need this design director, we need this CEO or whatever, and then they go to that CEO and say, hey, this person filed a complaint against you, maybe tighten it up. All that's going to happen. That's going to
retaliation on me,
propel the situation because I'm going to be retaliated against. I'm going to be fearful of my job, and that person could continue to exhibit that behavior because they know now that, like, all right, I can do whatever I want to do around here. Yeah. I'm not going to get in trouble. They need me more than I need them. Yeah. I run this show, and I feel like that is how he has gone about his work environments. And but we'll see what happens next, right? That is the big thing. We'll see what happens next. We'll see.
I don't give a shit. I don't really care.
Well, I mean, I'm curious to see like what's his next project, right?
And he did the Nevers, and then they booted him off the Nevers. I'm sure he hasn't done anything, or it doesn't seem like he's done anything since then. He's said it himself that he's not really like writing or doing anything. I don't really give a shit. Look, what I'm conflicted about is what do I do with Buffy and Angel? Because I love those shows dearly. Yeah, and this is the problem with like old shows that you then find out some fucked up shit happened. You're just like, what do I do?
I'm not going to stop loving something that I already love just because it's like, if it's
even though it came out like the thought process came out of this horrible piece of shit person.
Yo, there's a lot of shit I love that I just,
Yeezys.
I got plenty of Yeezys. I just bought some the other day. Shit, I just entered a raffle today for a new pair. Like, I love Kanye. I don't give a fuck about his politics or weird shit he's done. We've talked about this. Like, I still have like R. Kelly songs on my playlist. I know that's a terrible thing to say. A lot of people probably go, like, I'm sorry. I Believe I Can Fly. I like it. He's a terrible guy. I hope he rots in jail, but I can't lie. I like it. Yeah. So I would love what you love if it's not hurting anybody. Unfortunately, some things happened during the making of it that weren't great, but like if you enjoy it, you enjoy it, and I don't think anybody can hold that against you.
Yeah, that's fair, man. Because I go back every now and then. I still watch Buffy and I still watch Angel, and I'm not gonna lie, it does. There's always some hesitation in terms of turning on. I'm like, fuck, but I know this behind the scenes, like in the other scene, something probably fucked up happened right before this where he probably cursed somebody out or some shit like that. But yeah, I think the way I'm choosing to try to look at it is like,
only Doctor Strange can fix that. I can't. There's nothing I can do about it.
Time stone.
Exactly.
The people who like, the person who played Buffy, which is
Sarah Michelle
Gellar. She still had to act. Those people who are on a production that fucking think he's an asshole, they still had to do their job. Yeah. So it's just like they put in the blood, the sweat, the tears as much as anybody else in order to bring that thing to life.
You have to respect
and you have to still respect that too. And so I think that's how I'm choosing to look at it in order to like kind of be at peace with still watching, because I still enjoy the work, So alas, we've arrived at the end of the show, man. As always, if you liked what you fucking hear, then hit that subscribe, hit that share, hit that other buttons that might be on the, on the page.
What's going to be in 10 years? What's going to be the button?
It's not even going to be a button. It's just going to be a thought.
Just,
like, just think about my show and
blink twice.
Yeah.
at your screen to subscribe and pay.
Yeah, just out of my account. It's just
biometric. It's just put your thumbprint.
It's not even going to be thumbprint because that's what it is now. It's going to be
lean into your retina scans, and if you love our show, like whatever the fuck the thing's going to be, donate your blood.
Yeah, but yeah, like do the things in order to help us out. That would be appreciated immensely. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Omicron withstanding. But until then, I think